Chapter 1. Lin Sheng. Do you admit your guilt? Lin Yuan City. Tianxing Alliance, Inquisition. Countless people's eyes were focused on a young man in handcuffs. This invasion of monsters has resulted in the deaths of 13 innocent residents, and the place where the monsters entered is the area you are guarding. The Alliance now suspects you of colluding with the demon tribe. We will deprive you of your S-class ability and title of God of War according to the law, and confiscate all your personal property. Please cooperate with our investigation. During the investigation, the Alliance has decided to detain you in Jingshui prison. Hearing the verdict from the high-ranking law enforcer in the judgment seat, Lin Sheng's mouth curled into a sarcastic smile. 11 years ago, the blue planet was affected by cosmic radiation and underwent large-scale mutations. In addition to the rampant monsters, humans also showed signs of mutation. After the mutation, humans gained the so-called superpowers, such as moving mountains and filling the sea, controlling water and fire, which are called superpowers. A year later, many gifted people with special abilities formed the Tianxing Alliance, responsible for guarding various areas of Dragon Country to protect residents from being invaded by monsters. Lin Sheng, who is only 18 years old, is one of them. Because of his powerful strength, he became the only S-level supernatural being in the Tianxing Alliance. He was given the title of God of War and guarded the southernmost coastal area of a Dragon Country. The southern coastal area is where monsters appear most frequently and are the most powerful. It is also the connection between the demon world and the blue planet, and the risk factor is extremely high. But under the protection of Lin Yu's terrifying strength, the number of monsters escaping from the demon world has dropped to 10%, and the stability of the Dragon Kingdom has been significantly improved. Just yesterday, a murder case involving a monster occurred in the southern region. Lin Sheng, who had been stationed in the southern region for 10 years, was forcibly recalled and directly brought to trial. With you, I just want my parents to come back alive. Look how pitiful this child is. He has become an orphan at such a young age. Because so many people were killed for his own selfish interests, Lin Sheng does not deserve the treatment and honor of a god of war. Kill him, and he should be buried with the dozens of lives lost. Yes. Kill him. We can't let these dozen lives die in vain. Many residents who came to listen to the trial were seated in the seats at the edge of the courtroom. Their faces were filled with indignation, and they kept shouting that they wanted Lin Sheng to be buried with the dead. They were so angry that it was as if the person who died was not a stranger to them, but their closest loved one. I understand everyone's feelings, but Lin Sheng has made a lot of contributions to the Tianxing Alliance and Dragon Country over the years. We cannot erase his contribution, so burying him with him is impossible. The Tianxing Alliance hereby guarantees that it will thoroughly investigate the truth of the matter, and will also comfort the victim's family to the greatest extent possible and make good follow-up compensation. The law enforcement officer looked extremely distressed, which led to many voices of praise from the audience. As expected of the law enforcer of the Tianxing Alliance, you are always fair and just. It's such a pity. We can't let this guy who only cares about enjoying himself and not doing practical things be buried with the victims. Haha, I can accept throwing him in Jingshui prison for more than 10 years, but in short, I must not let him go so easily. After all, the dead cannot be resurrected, and life must go on. With the subsidy from the Tianxing Alliance, I believe the families of the victims can get some comfort. When Lin Sheng heard these words, the sarcastic smile on his face only deepened. Before Lin Sheng could make the next move, he heard a clang. The door of the court was broken open by a huge force. A young man broke through the security line of the courtroom and rushed in, pointing at the executor sitting in the courtroom and started cursing. Li Beis, you hypocrite, I'll FK you. Brother Sheng has been stationed at the southern border for 10 years. Even if he has no merit, he has worked hard. Besides, after investigation, those who died did not comply with the curfew rules. If they were inside the city walls, Brother Sheng would definitely be able to guarantee the safety of everyone. Why are you forcing the faults of others onto Brother Sheng? You and I know exactly what Jingshui prison is. If Brother Sheng is really imprisoned in Jingshui prison, his cultivation will never improve. If Brother Sheng hadn't fought 37 king-level monsters 3 years ago, the southern border would have been breached by the monsters long ago. After that battle, he was in a coma for a whole month, his weapon was damaged, his realm was unstable, and he almost lost his life. Not only do you not think of his goodness, but you also slander him for a fabricated pretext. Doesn't your conscience hurt? The law enforcement officer named Li Beis turned pale, slammed the table hard and scolded, Su Xingzhou, you are so bold. Breaking into the Alliance trial court is a serious crime. Now you are insulting the law enforcement officer, which is an even greater crime. Don't put the blame on me. Don't think I don't know what you are up to. Isn't it because I'm jealous of Brother Sheng's fame in recent years, which has affected your support for the new god of war? That's why I resorted to some dirty tricks to make a big fuss. Brother Sheng is too good to you, that's why you bastards are so arrogant. Su Xingzhu's face flushed red, and his anger almost swallowed up his sanity. Li Baizi, whose thoughts were exposed, was not panicked at all. Instead, he sneered and said, Su Xingzhou, you are so close to Lin Sheng on weekdays. I should have thought that you two were in cahoots. Come here, arrest Su Xingzhou and charge him with disrupting the order of the courtroom. Yes. 5 A-level psychics with powerful auras rushed in from various corners of the courtroom and surrounded Su Xingzhou almost instantly. Su Xingzhou, who is also A-level, had no intention of surrendering in the face of a large number of opponents. The air was filled with a strong smell of gunpowder, as if the slightest spark would detonate the fuse. That's enough. After being silent for a long time, Lin Sheng finally spoke. Although they were just 2 words without any emotion, they caused all the psychics present to change their expressions drastically. Because they all felt a shocking fluctuation of supernatural power. Click. The supernatural handcuffs that bound his hands were shattered directly. This level of suppression was like putting a feather on Lin Sheng's body. It didn't hurt at all. Instantly, a powerful force swept through the entire room. Lin Sheng. Are you going to rebel against the Inquisition and the Tianxing Alliance? Li Bei's was also a little panicked at this moment. Lin Sheng had killed countless monsters over the years, and the murderous aura emanating from his body was enough to shock most people. Li Bei's is no exception. Although the judge of the Inquisition is at least at the level of a B-class psychic, the gap between the two is like a chasm that cannot be crossed at all. Chapter 2. When that mighty force came towards him just now, he had no thought of resisting at all. Only the deepest fear in his heart kept urging him to escape. But now, with so many people looking at him, Li Bei's could only suppress his fear and question Lin Sheng. You don't need to put a label on me, and you have no right to put a label on me. From now on, I, Lin Sheng, will withdraw from the Tianxing Alliance. Lin Sheng's tone was light, but it revealed a firmness that was irresistible. Impossible, the alliance will not allow you to leave. Don't think you can just walk away after making a mistake. Even if you want to leave, you have to be punished before you leave. Li Bei's wanted to say something else, but when his eyes met Lin Sheng's eyes that were as deep as dead water, he suddenly felt a chill rising from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. Look, I'm not negotiating with you. Lin Sheng took out a jade token from his arms and threw it directly in the direction of Li Bei's. His name is engraved on this jade plaque. In order to highlight the identities of outstanding contributors, the Tianxing Alliance specially created 3 jade plagues. One of them is the one in Lin Sheng's hand. And now, one of the most outstanding contributors has ended up being criticized by thousands of people. What a irony. The jade plaque, which should have been emerald green, now appears light pink due to being stained with blood over the years. The jade token that seemed to be thrown lightly by him was like a bullet that shot out and directly smashed a hole in the wall behind Li Bei's. Because the force was so overwhelming, the damaged walls were almost completely turned into rubble and dust, filling the entire courtroom with smoke. The strong wind brought by the jade token blew directly through Li Bei's right ear. By the time Li Bei's reacted, the excruciating pain nearly made him faint on the spot. Ah! Lin Sheng! How dare you hurt me? Despite such a provocative action, no one at the scene dared to stop it. Because they know it very well too. If Lin Sheng was unwilling to cooperate, no one at the scene could stop him. Although the whole alliance could detain him, the price to pay was too high. Angering an S-rank war god. The consequences are disastrous. From now on, I will no longer abide by any of the rules and orders of the Tianxing Alliance. If you still want to say something more, then consider whether your life is strong enough. Lin Sheng spoke in a calm tone, and all obstacles on the road he wanted to pass were instantly crushed to dust. Li Bei's eyes flickered. He was a little confused. The alliance had punished him a lot before, so why was the reaction so strong this time? He originally just wanted to take this opportunity to suppress Lin Sheng, but he never thought that he would actually force the other party away. But, so what? After 10 years of development, the Tianxing Alliance is no longer the weak organization it once was. The thing that this world has the most of is talent. There are already many quasi-S-level people in the league today. I believe that it won't be long before S-level psychics will be as numerous as carp crossing a river. By then, will there still be a lack of a Lin Sheng? With this thought, Li Bei's inner panic subsided a little. However, due to the opponent's strength being too strong and having already broken through the shackles of the supernatural handcuffs, he could only continue to put pressure on Lin Sheng with words. Lin Sheng. It was the alliance that helped you when you were most helpless and gave you the direction to move forward. Since you are determined to leave, the alliance will take back all the power and benefits granted to you. Your replacement will arrive at the border tomorrow, and I don't want to see your stuff there. Lin Sheng ignored the incompetent barking of such a villain and let out a long sigh. After this burden was lifted, he felt inexplicably relieved. He has hardly had a full night's sleep since guarding the border. I am afraid that innocent people will be killed due to my momentary negligence. But this time, it seems that he doesn't need to put pressure on himself anymore. He has paid enough. This can be considered as an explanation to my passionate self back then. Xiaozhou, take good care of yourself. Lin Sheng smiled at Su Xingzhou. He was the one who recommended this kid to join the Tianxing Alliance. Although he is still young, he is quite strong and his talent is only slightly worse than his. Compared to other cowards, he is already one of the best. It should be no problem for him to become the next god of war in the future. Brother Sheng. You shouldn't be the one to leave. Su Xingzhou's fists were clenched so tightly that they made a creaking sound. He glared at Li Bei's with murderous eyes, wishing he could kill him right away. He is still young and does not understand the dangers of the world. They just knew that their most beloved brother Sheng should not suffer such humiliation and slander. But Lin Sheng shook his head disapprovingly. As a small law enforcement officer of the trial court, Li Bei's did not have the power and courage to force himself to leave. In other words, the league's top brass acquiesced to his actions. Since the alliance doesn't need him, why should he stay here? As long as they don't regret it later. As for Su Xingzhou, even though he caused a big commotion in the court, given Su Xingzhou's talent, the alliance would not make it too difficult for such a promising war god. All the criticisms were directed at him. When Lin Sheng passed by the door, he smiled and patted Su Xingzhou on the shoulder, and then his face suddenly darkened. With a cold snort, an invisible pressure suddenly descended, forcing the 5 people surrounding Su Xingzhou to kneel on the ground. The force generated by the collision between the knee and the ground caused spider-web-like cracks to appear at the contact points. No matter how hard the 5 people struggled, they were unable to get up. Suppress. Absolute strength suppression. There was no explanation, not even a glance. Such an extremely strong attitude made Li Bei's heart skip a beat. Fortunately, Lin Sheng's feelings and disgust towards the Tianxing alliance balanced each other out. Otherwise, everyone present would have no chance of survival. When Su Xingzhu's eyes fell on a girl in a distant corner, his dim eyes suddenly brightened, like a drowning person grabbing the last straw. Sister Luo Cheng. You should try to persuade Brother Sheng. Let's report this to the highest level of the alliance. We can't just put this blame on Brother Sheng. He Luokang avoided his gaze and did not dare to look directly into the boy's expectant eyes. She is one of the people who awakened her superpowers at the same time as Lin Sheng, and she has a close relationship with Lin Sheng on a daily basis. There were rumors that she and Lin Sheng were a perfect match. It's a pity that Lin Sheng has been guarding the border and has less interaction with her. But one thing is undeniable, He Luokang loves Lin Sheng in his heart. A young man who single-handedly defended the southern border was the dream lover of all the girls in Dragon Country. The people who looked at He Luokang were not only Su Xingzhou, but also Li Bei's, the law enforcement officer. Ms. He Luokang, I advise you to think carefully before answering. The alliance doesn't need liars. I hope you can figure out your position. Chapter 3. He Luokang was shocked when he heard this, bit his lip, and said after a moment of silence, Xiaozhou, all this. Lin Sheng deserves it. It was because of his negligence that so many lives were lost for no reason. From the perspective of the alliance, he is indeed suspected of colluding with the demon tribe. Li Bei's was very satisfied with He Luokang's answer, but Lin Sheng's body trembled slightly, but soon recovered as before, with a relieved smile on his face. Su Xingzhou completely collapsed and yelled, Sister Luo Cheng. What are you talking about? Brother Sheng was able to save you from the monster tide back then. Now it would be fine if you didn't speak up for him, but why did you step on him? What benefit did this Li Bei's give you? Su Xingzhou, don't be so aggressive. Ms. He Luokang just said some fair words based on facts. If you continue to shout and scream in the courtroom, you will spend the rest of your life in Jingshui prison. Lin Sheng took a deep breath, looked back and said calmly, you don't want your other ear anymore. Li Bei's, who was still thinking that he was a villain, stopped abruptly when he heard this. His face turned pale and he opened his mouth but no sound came out. The fear in his heart had overcome his anger. The piercing pain in his ears kept reminding him that Lin Sheng was no longer the god of war that was bound by the alliance. He could really hurt or even kill people. Xiaozhou, that's it. Lin Sheng repeated this sentence again, and then, ignoring Su Xingzhu's struggling eyes, resolutely walked out of the courtroom. During this time, no one dared to step forward to stop it. It was not until Lin Sheng left the courtroom that the depressing atmosphere eased a little. After Lin Sheng left, the entire Dragon Kingdom was shocked. What the hell? Because he left his post without permission and caused the death of innocent residents, he is still not satisfied with the verdict of the Inquisition's law enforcement officer. Haha, just because you are strong you can do whatever you want. Beating up the law enforcement officer in public, this kind of behavior of defying the rules should indeed be expelled from the Tianxing alliance. Wait, but I heard that the residents who died violated the curfew rules and went out without permission. Let's not talk about those nonsense. Putting aside the facts, is he not wrong? No matter what, the dead are the greatest. As the god of war, he should be held responsible for the loss of so many lives. At the same time, Linyuan City. In a luxurious mansion, 3 people were sitting opposite each other. One of the elegant ladies said with a smile, Master, the plan is going more smoothly than expected. Lin Sheng has already stepped down from the position of god of war. The middle-aged man who looked quite similar to her snorted nonchalantly and said in a deep voice, you are still keeping to yourself in such a turbulent situation. If you want to enjoy the treatment of a god of war, there won't be so many good things. Right now, the border is stable and it's a critical period for the Integrity Alliance election. What I need is a god of war who can provide me with momentum, not a fool who only knows how to fight and kill. Although the border is now stable, the people's hearts must be stabilized. What are you afraid of? There are many potential S-level talents in the alliance. Just push any obedient one up. There are many obedient people in the alliance, but not many strong ones. This matter needs to be discussed. Mr. Li, what do you think? The two focused their attention on an old figure. The old man in a white robe slowly opened his slightly narrowed eyes upon hearing this. Master Chen, a new official starts with 3 things, the big things first, then the small things. Border defense is the most sought-after gilded project today. You might as well send a few of the Chen family's capable young men and women to take a look. In recent years, there have only been small-scale intrusions from the demon beast tribe, and no large-scale invasions have occurred. Now is the time to take over from the god of war, which is of great significance. The entire alliance and even the Dragon Nation are paying attention to this. If Alliance leader Chen wants to let several young masters and young ladies serve in the alliance in the future. General Li did not continue talking here, but changed the subject and said, go there to gild your skills for a while and then find someone to take over, so that leader Chen can be relieved of his worries. After Chen Li pondered for a moment, he nodded in relief, as expected of Mr. Chen, this way, I can not only earn enough reputation, but also avoid being in danger at the border for a long time. The noble lady also had a smiling expression on her face and said, everything will be arranged by Elder Chen. Let Ying'er and Xiao Tian go with their cousins. Ying'er, I'm relieved, Xiao Tian. Master, I have spoiled Xiaoshan's character, but he is your son after all. His talent is not weak. At the age of 18, he has already touched the threshold of an A-level psychic. If he is trained, he may have a place in the alliance. Chen Li was somewhat moved by what the noble lady said. This time, let's give him a chance. Before that, let me tell you that it has to be built well. In an age of advanced communications, it only takes a few tricks to whitewash a strong person. When Chen Yingying and Chen Tian were heading to the border with several less than A-level psychics, the major media reported that 6 new A-level psychics are about to head to the border to kill potential threats in one fell swoop. After 1 year of training, they have reached the level of top superpowers. 6 new generation A-level superpowers may calm all unrest on the border. The scum who only had the title of God of War has stepped down, and the next one is 6 vigorous new forces. Countless online groups swept through major forums and social platforms in just one day. Not only did they tout these 6 greenhouse flowers as rare cultivation geniuses that are rarely seen in a century, but they also made Lin Sheng's hat of dereliction of duty more and more tightly pressed. Instead of having any worries, these 6 people enjoyed the vanity brought to them by the confusion of the outside world. Isn't it just guarding the border? What's so difficult about that? In a box with bright lights and wine, a young man with dyed yellow hair was hugging beauties on both sides. After drinking the red wine in his hand, he said nonchalantly, that idiot Lin Sheng can call himself a god of war? If he wasn't born at a good time and awakened his superpowers a few years earlier than us, I would have left him far behind. It's just a monster. It's not like I haven't seen monsters before. How can such a weak creature compare to a human with superpowers? Brother Tian is right. According to my aunt's arrangement, after we brothers go to the border for a while and come back, we can join the alliance as heroes. Just think of it as a vacation. There haven't been any signs of monster invasions at the border for a long time. It's a good idea for us to bring some extra supplies and relax. According to mother's plan, we should set off tomorrow. Brother, we can't party too late tonight. A young girl in a black evening dress sat on the edge of the box. Her dignified and beautiful figure seemed out of place here. It's okay, I know what I'm doing, Ying, go back to sleep first. All right. Everything seems to be going according to plan. Chapter 4. And at this time, the border where the Dragon Kingdom and the Demon Clan meet. Sensing the familiar breath, the monsters that had already crossed the border were shrouded in endless fear. The fear from the depths of their souls made them unable to move normally. The demon tribe that was ready to move at the border but had not yet crossed the border retreated without hesitation. Any hesitation would be irresponsible for their own lives. The man before him had slaughtered countless of their kind. From the lessons learned from the deaths of countless of their own kind, even the lowest level monsters understand one thing: as long as this powerful man is here, they will never be able to cross this border. This is true even for powerful monsters like the king level. The monster kneeling on the ground closed its eyes resignedly, quietly waiting for death to come. But the expected bloody scene did not appear. Lin Sheng glanced indifferently at the monster that had crossed the border. He did not make any move to attack. Instead, he turned around and flew towards the cabin on the top of the mountain not far away. He came back this time just to pack his luggage. The so-called luggage is nothing more than some commonly used homemade furniture. These things were carved by him personally. Rather than leaving them here to be destroyed by the next caretaker, it would be better to keep them with him so that he can at least make the best use of them. Such strange behavior made many monsters very puzzled. Is this a trap? The devil who used to slaughter people without blinking an eye actually let us go. Could it be that this is the art of war that humans are most passionate about? No, never believe in humans' weird and abnormal behavior. They are best at lying and cheating. What if this human really gives up defense? Then my kind can rush into the human's territory and have a feast. Hehehe, he is the only one our clan fears. The rest of humanity is powerless. Slurp. The taste of the psychic is so delicious. I really hope I can eat another powerful psychic. Don't act rashly. Let's observe for a while before making a decision. Lin Sheng took in all the monsters on the border. The activities of any monster beast will not escape his surveillance. As for the monster beasts that appear in the territory, there was a cold light in Lin Sheng's eyes. Even if a demon king level strongman is lurking, he can see through it. As for the appearance of monsters in the southern region, it must be that someone with special abilities used special means to conceal the monster's aura. After all, he would not search for the aura of a psychic at will. Never mind. The situation of internal and external troubles is something that the top leaders of the Tianxing Alliance need to consider. Now that he has withdrawn from the Tianxing Alliance, he should enjoy his life. The moment his heart knot was untied, Lin Sheng felt that the supernatural power in his body suddenly became agitated. A force that came from nowhere was continuously flowing into every part of the body through the beating of the heart. The supernatural power that had been stagnant for a long time and had not improved at all was actually rising at an extremely fast speed. Ding! A breakthrough in the host's spiritual realm has been detected, and the critical value for activating the system has been reached. The origin system of all things is binding. Current binding progress, 1%, 20%, 80%, 100%. Ding! Binding completed. Congratulations to the host for receiving the newbie gift pack. Newbie gift pack, random attribute ability, S-level secret method A1, S-level secret technique A1, breakthrough pill A1. You have obtained the Thunder Attribute ability. You have obtained the secret technique Thunder Prison. You have obtained the secret skill Shadow Step, system. Lin Sheng was slightly startled when he saw the prompt box appearing in front of him. Sensing the endless Thunder Attribute power surging in his body, a long-lost smile appeared on Lin Sheng's face. His ability is of Fire Attribute, and now it has been enhanced by Thunder Attribute, which means it has a dual attribute of Thunder and Fire. Since humans awakened their superpowers, no one has ever been able to obtain superpowers with two attributes. The pill that appeared out of nowhere in front of him made Lin Sheng's eyes burn with excitement. In some rare ruins, elixirs were indeed produced, but the quantity was extremely small. In order to ensure the quality of the new generation of power, the Alliance often chooses to provide elixirs to newcomers with outstanding talents to ensure that there will be no gap in the Alliance's strength. Therefore, although Lin Sheng is a god of war, the resources he receives are actually very few. Especially the name of this pill, it's called Breakthrough Pill. Rumor has it that there is a kind of elixir that can help people with special abilities break through the shackles of their levels. Could it be that? This is it, right? Thinking of this, Lin Sheng's eyes became even more fiery. But this is not a good place for retreat. Someone will come here to take over the defense tomorrow, so he has to go inland to find a secluded place to retreat. Lin Sheng waved his hand, and all the items within his sight were collected into the space ring. At the same time, his figure shot off into the distance, so fast that several lightning afterimages appeared on the spot. In a short moment, they crossed a distance of dozens of kilometers. Several powerful monsters with restrained auras sensed that Lin Sheng's aura was fading away, and a hint of human-like doubt flashed in their huge pupils. This powerful human actually left. Something must have happened in the human area. This may be a good time for our race to invade. I will send. No, I will go back to my tribe and report to the Demon King. The speed at which news about monsters spread was extremely fast, especially the speed at which the monster elites attacked was extremely strange. After only an incense stick of time, the news was passed back to the monster tribe, and several monster kings of the monster tribe gathered together to discuss the secret. King Jinyu, why did you summon us together? Deep in the heart of the demon clan, a two-headed demon king stood tall, with a mighty tiger head, a cunning snake head, shoulders as broad as a mountain, and an overwhelming aura. A golden-feathered demon king was shining brightly, his golden feathers were dazzling and his aura was terrifying. Just now, an elite from our tribe reported that the human god of war has evacuated the border. Evacuate? How is that possible? Another demon king spoke up, his eyes full of doubt. He has blocked our tribe from entering the border for 10 years, killing hundreds of thousands of our own kind. He has made it impossible for our tribe to enter human territory. Now he is actually retreating on his own initiative. Has the evil demon on the northern border revived? Another demon king immediately rejected this statement and said, No, no, no. If the evil demon really awakens, our clan will definitely get the news. There must be something fishy about this matter. Maybe he wants to trick us into the border and then kill us in one fell swoop. King Suanjia is overthinking. I also felt that this matter was suspicious at first, but I asked the insider who was planted among the human race for confirmation and got an important piece of information. What's the news? The human alliance seems to be extremely dissatisfied with the god of war and has completely deprived him of all his privileges and status. The human god of war was disheartened and withdrew from the alliance on the spot, abandoning all garrison operations. As soon as these words were spoken, several demon kings looked up to the sky and howled, and their voices reached straight into the sky. Ha 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 ha, God bless the demon race. Chapter 5. Without that god of war, other humans are nothing to be feared. Human beings are really interesting. Those who contribute are deprived of everything, while those who make no contribution and only slander others are able to rise to prominence. It's really ridiculous and pathetic. Pass the order. Gather the elite of our tribe to form a vanguard team. Sneak into the border in 2 days to gather intelligence. Any humans found during the mission can be disposed of at will. If there are no human beings with special abilities to stop us or if we cannot stop them, then we will continue to go deeper. Good idea. Good idea. Once the vanguard troops advance deep into the enemy territory, the larger troops that follow can also advance straight in. My taste buds are already looking forward to the delicious flesh and blood of the superpower. Time flies, and 2 days pass in a flash. After the advance team sent by the Chen family found nothing unusual, they conveyed the news back to Linyuan City. After Chen Li received the news, he immediately arranged for the gilding plan to be implemented. When the 6 young men and women who were responsible for taking over the border defense in place of Lin Sheng arrived at the border, they were shocked by the vast expanse of wasteland. I originally thought that this should be a holiday resort with birds singing and flowers blooming. He never expected that it was a barren wasteland with no one living there. The paradise life that he had been looking forward to for a long time turned into a bubble, and the smile on Chen Tian's face instantly turned sinister. Damn it! If I had known this place was so desolate, I wouldn't have come here. Brother, don't talk like that. This is the arrangement of our father and mother. We must obey. Ying Ying, you are just too obedient. Haven't you ever heard a word? When a general is away from home, he may not obey the orders of the king. Now that I am away from home, my brother is the most important. Chen Tian didn't care at all about Chen Yingying's correction. I think this place is not dangerous except that it is a little desolate. It seems that the media reports are correct. The border defense is completely nonsense. That jerk Lin Sheng should have rolled over and made way for us rising stars. Ha 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 ha. I think the most dangerous factor here is being bored to death. As soon as these words were spoken, The other 4 men and women all laughed out loud. Mr. Chen is still as humorous and funny as ever. I don't think there's anything dangerous here. Although the scenery is not as beautiful as I imagined, this desert with smoke has a unique flavor. Before we came, my aunt and uncle told us that we only need to stay here for a week, and someone else will come to replace us. Then we will be able to enter the Alliance's management team smoothly. After hearing this, the gloomy look on Chen Tian's face finally eased a little. Chen Tian just flipped his right hand lightly, and a bottle of expensive red wine and several wine glasses appeared out of thin air. In that case, let's drink to our beautiful tomorrow. Cheers. They were dressed in gorgeous, clean, and luxurious clothes that did not fit in with the surrounding environment. The afterglow of the setting sun was projected onto the cracked ground through the wine glass, like a pool of scarlet blood winding around. Bite. At the moment when the wine glasses collided crisply, a few pairs of scarlet eyes suddenly opened in the dark corners of the border, and an invisible aura of murderous intent spread. As it was getting dark, someone suggested going to the hut where Lin Sheng stayed to spend the night. But this touched Chen Tian's rebellious psychology. What's so good about living in that shabby house? It's not as comfortable as the luxurious tent I brought from Linyuan City. Tonight is our first night here, why don't we just camp at the foot of the mountain? We can also find some resources nearby and have a bonfire party to celebrate. The bonfire party was great. I brought a lot of food with me at home, and it came in handy. In such a difficult environment, it is indeed necessary to reward yourself. I'll go prepare the ingredients. Then I'll go set up the tent. I'll go find some firewood nearby. There are a lot of barren trees here, so destroying some of them should be enough. Although they are all young men from wealthy families, they have the help of supernatural powers and do not need to do simple things by themselves. As Chen Tian had the highest status among them, he would naturally not move around casually. He would just sit in the tent and wait for the other cousins a euro to prepare everything. Chen Yingying was also sitting aside. She was a good girl in everyone's mind, with high IQ and EQ. She was loved by the elders of the Chen family and naturally would not do rough work. The 2 people who went to collect firewood quickly collected all the firewood nearby, but they still fell short of the expected amount. Second brother, please send these firewood back first. I think there are some places we haven't been to yet. Maybe we can get some firewood. I'll go with you. After all, this is the border and it's not safe. No need. Since we arrived here, let alone monsters, we haven't seen a single living thing except for a few wild geese passing by. Go back and light a fire first, otherwise it will take too long, and Brother Tian has such a bad temper. Thinking of Chen Tian's erratic personality, the young man called the second brother suddenly looked tense. Okay, then you should be careful. If there is any problem, use flares to contact us in time. Don't worry, I am an A-level psychic after all, and ordinary monsters can't do anything to me. The last person had not returned yet and the bonfire dinner had lasted for a long time. Seeing that the bonfire was about to go out due to lack of combustible materials, the drunken Chen Tian instantly became furious. Why hasn't Xiaodong come back yet? Brother Tian, a euro don't be angry. This kid must have lost his way somewhere. I'll go look for him. Chen Qing hastily tried to smooth things over, quickly put on his coat, picked up a torch from the campfire and left in a hurry. Unlike Chen Tian who was heartless, Chen Yingying frowned at this moment, always feeling that she had a bad premonition in her heart. Less than 2 minutes after the young man left, a shrill scream pierced the sky. Something happened. Chen Yingying reacted the fastest, and although Chen Tian was a little drunk, he was the strongest among the group, and he immediately rushed towards the source of the sound. After arriving at the place, the first thing everyone saw was Chen Qing sitting on the ground, looking into the distance in horror. Everyone followed Chen Qing's fearful gaze and turned pale with fright. Chen Tian's pupils suddenly shrank, and he hurriedly covered Chen Yingying's eyes. The backs of the other people were all covered with cold sweat, and they covered their mouths tightly to prevent themselves from making any sound. In the open space not far ahead, there is a... No, it can no longer be called one, it should be described as a pile. The pieces of meat scattered on the ground gave off a disgusting stench, and the bloody smell in the air irritated everyone's nerves all the time. If it weren't for the remnants of Chen Xiaodong's clothes on the pieces of flesh and blood, no one would have been able to associate this tragic scene with a human body. Chapter 6. Don't make a sound. The monster is most likely still nearby. Let's go back to the camp first. It's too unsafe here. What about Xiaodong's body? At this time, you are still thinking about other people's corpses. Aren't you afraid that you will become a corpse too? Damn it, why can't I detect any breath? When did the monster approach? Chen Tian's lips were trembling slightly when he spoke, and he was mostly sober from the excessive shock. Chen Tian completely ignored his heroic words and fled back to the wooden house left by Lin Sheng in a panic, holding the door tightly with his back. At this moment, they were really scared. Unbeknownst to them, monsters could cross the border at will. Not only that, they were killing people almost right under their noses. The person he killed was not an ordinary person, but a genuine A-level supernatural being. Chen Tian knew best the strength of his cousins. Chen Xiaodong's fighting ability is definitely much stronger than that of an average A-level psychic. Even if he is weak, it is impossible for him to be torn to pieces by a monster without even making the slightest noise. Could it be? Is it a king-level monster that has entered the country? When he thought of this, Chen Tian felt his mind buzzing and he was confused. Brother Tian, a euro I think I need to report this to my aunt and the others. This matter is beyond our ability to handle. We must ask the Alliance's top psychics to come and handle it. Before Chen Tian could reply, Chen Yingying's eyes flashed with a hint of ruthlessness. She suppressed her fear and said in a deep voice, "No. If father and mother knew that something happened on the first day we came here, how would they view us? Border defense is inherently dangerous, and it is not impossible for someone to sacrifice their life. The Alliance and we will remember his contribution. Besides, they are just monsters, low-level creatures without intelligence. Once an elite monster appears at the border, it will definitely trigger the ban. Since the ban was not triggered, the one who killed people was just an ordinary monster. Being able to kill people silently in the dark might simply be due to the ability to conceal one's presence. He was killed simply because he was careless and let his guard down, which is why the monster succeeded. Tomorrow morning, we will conduct a large-scale investigation in the surrounding area. I don't believe that something like this will happen again." There was a flash of surprise in everyone's eyes, because in their impression, Chen Yingying had always been gentle and tolerant, and had never been as cold-blooded as she was today. Even Chen Tian, a euro his brother, could hardly understand his sister, with whom he grew up. But in fact, the more Chen Yingying is regarded as a favored girl in the eyes of others, the heavier her psychological burden will be. Her pride would not allow her to fail in a mission, especially at the very beginning. Failure to my parents' expectations was more painful than killing her. At the location where the boy was killed, 2 pools of bloody mucus gradually seeped out from the surface, and then slowly condensed into shape under the moonlight. They were actually 2 blood-red beast-shaped monsters. Hehehe, the flesh and blood of people with special abilities is indeed delicious. These little kids have loose consciousness and weak strength. I really don't know what humans are thinking to actually send us food. I really want to eat them all. I can never get enough of the delicious flesh and blood of the mutants. I've been hungry for too long. Don't worry, there will be plenty of food in the future. What's more fun than killing the prey is teasing it. Give them a false sense of security, then eat one every day, and let them watch their companions die one by one in fear. Hehehe, you are still ruthless enough. Let's let them go today and go back to report to the captain that the human god of war has left the border and the advance team can try to invade human territory. Chen Tian and his companions did not sleep all night, and their eyes were bloodshot. The fear of death continued to erode their sanity. As soon as they closed their eyes, the bloody scene of Chen Xiaodong being brutally killed would unconsciously emerge in their minds. The person with the worst tolerance even vomited many times in a row, and only felt better after he vomited out everything in his stomach. What made them even more terrified was that after many rounds of inspections, they had not found any signs of monsters active at the border. If they had not seen the extremely mutilated corpse with their own eyes last night, they would have believed that Chen Xiaodong could not bear the desolation of the border and escaped back to Linyuan City alone. The saddest thing was that Chen Xiaodong's body was eaten by wild beasts until not even a bone was left. The border is a barren land, and food is the most scarce thing here. The remaining flesh and blood is the most delicious meal for the long-hungry beast. Chen Qing collapsed. Chen Xiaodong was his closest brother in the past, but now even his body cannot be found, and they can only make a simple cenotaph with his clothes. While the border was shrouded in fear, Lin Sheng had successfully absorbed and refined the medicinal power of the broken mirror pill in a deep mountain inland. At this time, his whole body was shrouded in a thick fog. The fog contained infinite energy and was constantly flowing through the pores into the meridians. Lin Sheng could clearly feel the changes in himself. Under the influence of the broken mirror pill, his fire and lightning abilities had actually completed an extremely complex fusion. He raised his palm out of common sense, and faint thunder and lightning appeared in the dancing flames on his palm. The 2 attributes of lightning and fire complement each other, doubling their power. The most important thing is that Lin Sheng feels that his own realm has also completed a breakthrough. The energy surging in his meridians is almost out of control and rushing out of the constraints of his body. He had never heard of any level above S level. Open the properties panel. Host, Lin Sheng realm, stellar level supernatural attribute, thunder and fire secret technique, thunder prison, extreme flame fall secret skills, shadow step, fire dragon dance, blazing fire palm. Stellar. Lin Sheng was shocked by this unfamiliar level. And when he looked inward, his consciousness was instantly brought into a cosmic wonder that transcended the mortal world. The supernatural power that surges endlessly in the body has now transformed into a dazzling star, quietly hanging in the core of the spiritual world. Endless energy surrounds the star, forming a kind of connection. Lin Sheng's eyes flickered. He could clearly sense the terrifying power emanating from that star. Before, he had to give his all when killing the Demon King. And he felt that with his current combat power, he could easily kill a king level monster. Chapter 7. After Lin Sheng left the cave, he instantly sensed the presence of monsters around him. This sudden change also made him stunned. Something is wrong. He was now inland, not at the border. Even if there is a problem with the border defense, it won't allow monsters to sneak into the inland. The only explanation is that something happened at the border. Thinking of this, a sneer appeared on Lin Sheng's face. At this point he doesn't need to worry about anything anymore, just live his life well. As for the life and death of those parasites in the alliance, what does it have to do with him? Call out. A sharp sound of breaking through the air was heard, and Lin Sheng, who was extremely sensitive to supernatural fluctuations, immediately noticed something strange behind him. And at the moment when he slightly turned his head, a ball of light containing terrifying power passed by his head. The ball of light directly hit the thick giant tree in the distance, causing a violent explosion. Lin Sheng quickly locked onto the target. The one who attacked was not a human, but a monster with 2 canine heads. This monster was extremely large, and even if its body, which was more than 10 meters long, didn't stand up, it could still give people a strong sense of oppression. At this moment, the two-headed monster was roaring at Lin Sheng, and its huge pupils revealed its desire for food. Lin Sheng's eyes turned cold. The nature of the attacks of human mutants and monsters is basically the same. Theoretically speaking, the superpowers awakened by humans are of the same origin as those experienced by monsters. The fact that this monster can launch such a powerful attack shows that its ability has reached the level of human A grade. It's been a long time since a demon beast had the courage to attack me. You are the first one in recent years. Lin Sheng's expression remained unchanged. He raised his right hand slightly, and a surge of supernatural power instantly surged from his palm. Before he finished speaking, overwhelming flames suddenly came from all directions and completely enveloped the two-headed dog monster. There were silver-white electric snakes mixed in the flames, which instantly shattered the monster into dust the moment the lightning and fire energy came into contact with it. There was nothing left except a few wisps of burning smell and a hint of ash in the air. Lin Sheng was very satisfied with the power of this attack. It seems that the means of attack at the stellar level have reached the state of returning to basics. Before, he might have had to move his body slightly, but now he can easily kill an A-level mutant with just a wave of his hand. Lin Sheng's smile slowly faded, he looked up at a certain spot in the sky, and said in a deep voice, "You scum hiding in the dark, how long are you going to observe? Or do you mean that you must kill me before you realize that you have been exposed?" Sizzle. A crack suddenly appeared in the sky not far ahead, and a huge eye was looking at Lin Sheng through the crack. "Human god of war, I have to admit that you are really powerful." Lin Sheng's expression became unusually solemn. The thing that appeared before him was not an ordinary monster, but the demon king of the demon race. This aura was even more powerful than the demon king he had encountered before, and was definitely not comparable to that of any ordinary monster. "I have heard that the king of the monster clan has awakened from his slumber, and it seems that this is not a rumor at all. Human god of war, I admit that you are very powerful. I already know your experience, why don't you try to join the demon tribe? In the demon tribe, I will give you the highest honor. You will be respected by all beasts. This is much better than the humiliation you have suffered in the human alliance. You only sent a projection to win me over? Come over here first and talk." Lin Sheng sneered, his expression suddenly turned cold, and he stretched out his big hand and grabbed forward. A huge palm shadow condensed in the air, and then grabbed towards the crack in the void. The surrounding air seemed to be solidified under the terrifying supernatural power fluctuations. The powerful aura locked onto the demon emperor's projection, and no matter what method it used, it could not temporarily close the void crack. As a result, the phantom of Lin Sheng's supernatural power crushed the space into pieces, and the demon king of the demon race could only resist. At that time, the humanoid shadow far away in the demon world suddenly groaned. The right eye seemed to be shattered by some exaggerated force, and blood continued to flow out. This black shadow is none other than Demon Emperor Hengzi, who has transformed into a human form. It was originally a black dragon, and its body once devoured the lives of an entire city with just a wave of its hand. And now he was injured by someone from a distance, and his uninjured left eye was filled with horror. How is it possible, a mere human being can reach such a state? The injured Hengzi murmured to himself, his tone full of disbelief and shock. As the emperor of the demon race, it never thought that it would be frustrated by a human being who it thought it could easily control. In the brief confrontation just now, it could clearly feel that this human had grown to a point where even it could not control him. When the demons invaded the human border, it was still sleeping and had not yet awakened. I thought I had awakened now, but the god of war had given up the defense of the border because of internal strife among humans. Everything was foolproof and a sure thing, but I didn't expect that this guy's strength had already broken through that realm. Seeing the demon emperor injured, the several restrained demon beasts kneeling beside him trembled all over. King-level monsters are not qualified to meet the monster emperor. These monsters are all monster emperors. The demon emperor is injured. How could this happen? Are you kidding? The demon emperor has already touched the legendary realm. If we can hurt the demon emperor, that means. The key is that this is through the projection to hurt the main body. The demon emperor did not even have a chance to dodge. They all witnessed the whole process clearly, and their fear of Lin Sheng became even deeper. Just thinking back to the scene when Lin Sheng killed 37 demon kings in a row, I feel a chill down my spine. One of the demon kings had fought with Lin Sheng. Although his life was not in danger, his left arm was damaged by Lin Sheng's supernatural power and could not regenerate. At this time, the wound was aching slightly. The demon king's forehead was instantly covered in cold sweat, and the deepest fear in his heart was completely aroused. The emotional changes of the fellow creatures below were all seen by Hengzi, the demon emperor. Given its realm, its healing ability was still outstanding, and the injury on its right eye was healed in no time. This person's strength has probably already surpassed the legendary realm. He is more than twice as strong as those useless humans. We must try our best to make him work for our clan. Humans are all emotional animals. This may be a breakthrough that we can grasp. Those spies buried in the human alliance must be used well, especially the surveillance of the relatives and friends of the human god of war. If you find any clues, report them to me immediately. With the complex thinking of humans, it is very likely that they will do something like cutting the grass to remove the roots. If the human alliance really digs its own grave. Hengzi showed a sinister smile on his face, then this information will be the last straw that breaks the camel's back for the human alliance. Chapter 8. Southern Border. Ever since one of them was devoured by the monster, the range of activities of Chen Tian and others has been significantly shortened. However, even if they did not go out hunting, the food they brought back from Linyuan City was enough for them to survive in the wooden house for a while. Mr. and Mrs. Chen Li, who were far away in Linyuan City, were very worried about their children who were far away at the border. However, after repeated inquiries, Chen Tian still concealed the information that people had died at the border. Therefore, from the perspective of the entire Linyuan City and even the Alliance, the southern border that almost borders the demon race is still calm. Those media outlets that were just making groundless accusations also used profile pictures to get a piece of this wave of traffic, and they all published posts following suit. Several newcomers can guard the border, and world peace is the general trend. Shocked. The border defense is so easy. How much did the former god of war hide from us? The Alliance's deterrence against the demon race has begun to show results. It won't take long to completely eliminate the evil intentions of the demon race. There are also foreign alliance members who accuse Lin Sheng of not only occupying alliance resources as the alliance's god of war, but also neglecting his duties and having no sense of responsibility. What's worse, they even tried to organize sightseeing tour groups and lead some civilians who were yearning to visit the border for a so-called one-day border tour. However, many people are still very interested in this, and at one point the number of people who signed up has exceeded the scope of what the major travel agencies can handle. On the night when the registration was booming all over the world, Chen Tian and his companions at the southern border were horrified to find that another person had died in the mouth of a monster. And the death was even more tragic. Only some fingers and limbs were left at the scene, and even the blood on the ground had been licked clean. And these remaining body fragments seemed to be the deliberate actions of the monster. This discovery made Chen Yingying, who was always smart and calm, turn pale, and she clutched the corner of Chen Tian's clothes tightly. Brother, these monsters seem to be playing tricks on us. These monsters don't even spare blood, so how could they leave behind these body parts? It's obvious that they deliberately let us find out and make us panic. Although Chen Tian did not seem to have any major emotional fluctuations on the surface, his brain was actually blank and he was only holding on with one breath. These damned monsters. They dare not cross the border on the surface, but only play some shady tricks behind the scenes. From now on, no one is allowed to act alone. Just hold on for a few more days and we will complete the mission. Brother Tian, 2 people have died. This matter is beyond our ability to handle. Otherwise, let's report it. Stupid. Chen Tian came to his senses and kicked the person who spoke. This is a trick played by the monster. If they really want to launch a large-scale attack, they must be afraid of us, that's why they keep hiding in the dark and refuse to come out. If father knew that it was this kind of low-level creature that killed us and made us afraid to fight back, let alone joining the alliance, we wouldn't even be able to hold our heads up in the family in the future. Chen Tian's words seemed to hit upon what everyone was most worried about. Not only Chen Yingying, but several other people in the family have also been the focus of everyone's attention since childhood. Otherwise, it would never be their turn to gild the border. On the 3rd day after Chen Tian and others took over the border, tour guides from many hotels brought thousands of tourists to the border. Is this the place where the human world and the demon world meet? Wow! It's much more desolate than I imagined. Our dragon nation is truly great. With the power of one country, we can easily guard the southern border between the demon world and the human world. The peace we have today is inseparable from the bloody battles of our predecessors. Let's salute to show our respect before we leave. Ah, such a strong sandstorm. If I had known, I would have brought more moisturizer. Otherwise, my skin would be dried out. Ah, isn't it just yellow sand all over the sky, wind, and sun? If I had known earlier, I would have gone to the beach to play. At least I could have seen the big thunder and the thighs. I thought I would see a scene of monsters swarming and the guards fighting with them. It's really boring. After the novelty wears off, many people can't stand such a boring environment. After all, there are neither famous scenes that can be checked in on WeChat moments nor things that can add to the fun. Coupled with the harsh environment, how could they, who usually like peace and tranquility, be interested in such a wild place? Fortunately, this place was not unmanned, and Chen Tian, a euro Chen Yingying and others soon ran into tourists. Seeing so many tourists appear, Chen Tian's expression suddenly changed. You know, the man-eating monster or monsters have not been found yet. The appearance of so many people at the border at the same time will greatly interfere with their speed in tracking down the monsters. Before they could organize them to send these people back, they saw several idol-chasing beauties coming up to them. Are you the strong men who are stationed at the border in place of Lin Sheng? You look so young, you are so promising. Brother, can I have the honor of taking a photo with you? You are so handsome. I will post it on social media later and it will definitely go viral. Chen Tian and his companions, who were already very vain, became even more vain under the crowds and compliments of tourists, and completely forgot about the danger. No problem, isn't it just a group photo? Come here, beautiful lady, I can let you sit on my shoulders and take a photo with me. What? You want an autographed photo? Sign it directly on your back. With the intervention of the border guards, the wave of calls for money back was finally calmed down temporarily, which was also the scene that the hotel tour guide hoped to see. When asked why there were only 4 of them now when there were clearly 6 people who came here to guard the border. The faces of Chen Tian and the others looked a little abnormal, but they soon recovered and simply explained that they were patrolling to a farther place. Naturally, no one would think in other directions. After all, the border is indeed very large, and it is normal to patrol far away. Suddenly, there were a lot of posts about the southern border on the internet. Friends, we have also successfully arrived at the southern border known as the Death Frontier, but it is peaceful here, without any danger at all. The guards here are very considerate, handsome, and graceful, and most importantly, very strong. Thumbs up to praise handsome Chen Tian. His wind attribute ability finally made my dream of flying come true. He is indeed an A-level psychic. Psychics are divided into 7 levels, F, E, D, C, B, A, and S. The monsters are divided into monster beasts, monster soldiers, monster generals, monster kings, monster emperors, and monster kings. However, this is only the initial level mastered by humans. In addition, there are not many people with special abilities, and ordinary people can only see very few B-level people with special abilities, let alone A-level people with special abilities. Therefore, Chen Tian and others gave these tourists a strong sense of security, and even the last trace of worry was thrown behind them. Chapter 9. As the most talented player in the entire league, Su Xing's first reaction when he saw these posts was panic. Because he had always regarded Lin Sheng as the target he wanted to catch up with, he knew some of the dangers of the border from Lin Sheng. This is a place where people are eaten without leaving any bones. The calmer it is, the greater the danger is approaching. Such a large-scale march to the border would inevitably attract the attention of the monsters, but the monsters, who should have taken action, have remained silent. This is too abnormal. If you think about it carefully, it is clear that the monsters are accumulating strength. What a bunch of idiots. They were fooled by such an obvious illusion. They really have no brains at all. Some people in the Tianxing Alliance are hopeless. They actually let that BD Li Bei's bully Brother Sheng. Do they really think that if they can train another S-level person, they can replace Brother Sheng? Brother Sheng is S-level because the upper limit of his realm is S-level, not because his strength is only S-level. What's more, the Alliance doesn't even have a crude S-level weapon right now. How can we rely on a group of A-level psychics to defend the southern border? Su Xing's passion to fight for the Alliance cooled the moment Lin Sheng left the Alliance. And now he is extremely disappointed. In his eyes, the Alliance has already been riddled with holes. The speed of information transmission on the internet is extremely fast. This information quickly spread to the entire Dragon country and even the information network of all Alliance member countries. Everyone was excited about the news because the era of peace they had been looking forward to for a long time seemed to have finally arrived. As the mayor of Linyuan City, Chen Li naturally saw the news that was spreading wildly on the internet. If he were just looking at this information from the perspective of the Lord of Linyuan City, he would not be too interested in it. But now as a father, he feels extremely proud when he sees his 2 children being praised so highly by the public on the internet. The noble lady standing by saw all of this and even revealed the news to Chen Tian through communication means. Chen Tian, a euro who was already feeling a little ecstatic, learned that his father, who had never been very satisfied with him, actually took the initiative to praise him in front of his mother. His tail was so high that it went straight to the sky. Look, I'll tell you. If we follow Ying Ying and I's plan and wait until the other guards come to take over, we will be successful. You can become famous without shedding blood or sweat. This is an opportunity that many people may not encounter once in their lifetime. And now this opportunity is before us. Isn't it worthwhile to sacrifice only 2 people in exchange for the prosperity and wealth of so many of us? The madness in Chen Tian's eyes made everyone present shudder except Chen Ying. They also seemed to understand one thing, except for Chen Ying, who had the deepest blood relationship with Chen Tian. Each of them present could potentially become a stepping stone in his pursuit of power. The so-called cousin relationship is nothing in the face of huge temptations of interests. But they have already been on the same boat, and now they are on the pirate ship. How can they get out of it unscathed? There is only one way to go to darkness. But reality gave them a loud slap in the face. That night, several tourists disappeared. Chen Tian and others thought they could have a good sleep, but before dawn, there was a violent knock on the door. The knocking on the door was so rapid that several people had to crawl out of bed to open the door. Master Chen, something happened. Some tourists reported that their companions who came to the border with them went out to use the toilet and never came back. It has been more than 2 hours. If only one person was missing, we wouldn't have bothered you, but 7 of them are missing. As the tour guide spoke, cold sweat flowed down his forehead like a waterfall. If this matter is not handled properly, the generous commission he had originally imagined would be gone. And my career will be completely ruined. Chen Tian frowned when he heard this. Are you kidding? We have 2 people on patrol tonight. If a demon beast appears, they will definitely not remain indifferent and not take any action. Just as he finished speaking, Chen Tian's pupils suddenly shrank and he had a bad premonition in his heart. The possibility he mentioned does not exist, but a premise must be considered. Those are the 2 guys out on patrol. Still alive. There were 6 people at the beginning, and 1 person was lost each day in the past 2 days. As of tonight, there are only 4 of them left. Although they are all A-level psychics, their strength and physical fitness are different from ordinary people. Perhaps it is not beyond the scope of human beings after all. As long as they are human, they need rest, and they are no exception. In order to ensure that they would have enough energy, Chen Tian had a special discussion with them and decided to divide the remaining 4 people into groups of 2, with each group on duty for 1 night. And tonight is the day when the other 2 cousins A Euro are on border patrol duty. Chen Ying was so frightened that she stood there stupidly, her face pale, her lips trembling, but she couldn't make any sound. If they were killed by monsters while on patrol before because of carelessness, but now the 2 of them are working together and still have no return. That's a bit intriguing. Able to kill 2 A-level psychics at the same time without giving them any chance to seek rescue. They must be at least Demon King level monsters, or a large number of general level monsters. Chen Tian tried hard to calm himself down. The most urgent task was to find ways to appease these tourists. Because once public opinion spreads, even if these people were not missing because of the appearance of monsters, all their efforts will be in vain. Leave this to us. Go back and appease these tourists. Be patient. We will be back soon. The news of the 2 A-level psychics dispatch quickly spread throughout the tourists' camp, making them feel unprecedentedly at ease. With 2 A-level psychics taking action, there shouldn't be any big problems. Don't worry too much. Although this is the border of the demon world, we haven't seen any traces of demon beasts since we arrived here. I think they got lost in the darkness. Let's just wait quietly for good news. The tourists who were still worried about their companions in the previous second were attracted by the bonfire party organized by the tour guide in the next second. But just as Chen Tian and Chen Yingying were about to leave the camp, in the darkness of the night, countless pairs of scarlet eyes quietly opened in the night. Chapter 10. A-level psychics do not yet have the ability to fly in the air, but they can still travel very fast. In just a few minutes, Chen Tian and Chen Yingying searched the area within several kilometers around the camp. And in a remote cave, they saw the scene they least wanted to see in their lives. Apart from them, the other 2 members of the Chen family had now turned into lifeless corpses. There was a lot of blood splattered on the jagged rock wall. If you look closely, the blood seemed to have gathered into a blurry and ugly word, die. Chen Tian only felt his heart pounding as if it was about to jump out of his chest. His worst thoughts have been confirmed. The one who killed people all along was not an ordinary monster, but a creature that has begun to gain intelligence or even a monster that can take human form. Brother, what should we do now? Chen Yingying's voice was trembling with tears. It was she who came up with the idea of a concealing the truth in the first place. Now things have developed in an uncontrollable direction, and she, the one who came up with the plan, has become the culprit of this matter. What else can we do? The truth can no longer be hidden. We must hurry up and report it to our father and mother. Chen Tian has regained much of his sanity, and now is no longer the time to think about how things will develop in the future. If the monster hadn't left yet, it would be unknown whether the 2 of them could survive. As long as the Green Mountains remain, there will be no shortage of firewood. Compared to becoming a rising star with a great reputation in the alliance in the future, Chen Tian's first thought now is how to return to Linyuan City alive from the border. Anyway, as the mayor of Linyuan City, my father holds a very important position and power within the alliance. It is impossible for him to live in obscurity all his life. Da-da-da. A low and powerful sound of footsteps broke the silence all around, as if the earth itself was shaking. The footsteps, which were deeper than those of humans, completely broke down the psychological defenses of the 2 people who were already panicking. This is most likely the monster that killed the 2 Chen family members. Hehehe. They are just 2 little kids, but they are quite strong. I think their flesh and blood must be very delicious. Human beings with special abilities are getting worse and worse. They don't even have the slightest bit of vigilance. Thinking about it carefully, I really miss the fear and trepidation I felt when that human god of war was here. Chen Tian stared at the cave entrance. The dim light was swallowed up by the heavy shadows. Everything seemed so depressing. As the footsteps approached, 2 indescribable powerful auras gradually spread, causing the surrounding air to freeze. 2 huge monsters slowly walked out of the shadows, and their true appearance gradually revealed to the 2 men. One of them was huge and covered with black scales, and each of its fists had an equally pitch-black spike attached to it. The other one was tall and slender, with silver feathers all over its body that looked like flowing light. Its wings behind it flapped gently, creating a slight airflow fluctuation in the cave. At the moment the 2 monsters appeared, 2 pools of crimson liquid slowly dripped onto the ground from the top of the cave, and then condensed into 2 blood-red shadows. Chen Tian collapsed to the ground instantly, his eyes full of horror. He had never heard of such a terrifying aura fluctuation. Just by taking a glance, the anger and fighting spirit that had accumulated in my heart with great difficulty disappeared instantly. 2 general-level monsters, and 2 brigadier general-level monsters. The 2 of them simply can't handle this kind of lineup. Chen Tian's first reaction was to flee. He had to get away from here as quickly as possible and go back to seek support. The moment the idea came into his mind, Chen Tian immediately rushed towards the cave entrance, trying to break through the encirclement by force. But he lacked combat experience and completely overlooked one point. Even among monsters of the same level, there can be huge differences in their combat effectiveness. The combat capabilities of some general-level monsters are very likely to be stronger than those of some monster kings. It's really touching how eager they are to become food. The monster covered with black scales suddenly raised its fist and smashed it at Chen Tian at a speed that was almost invisible to the naked eye. Chen Tian's afterimage was almost visible. This powerful punch smashed Chen Tian to pieces on the spot, and his body, shattered by the huge force, was sprayed all over the cave like shotgun bullets. Some of the internal organs even splashed onto Chen Yingying's face. The warm and slippery touch made her scream miserably. But besides her, there is not even a lowest level F-level psychic around here. Old bear, you are really wasting nature's gifts. A-level psychics are rare, and a weak A-level psychic like this is even rarer. How could you make him like this? Looking at the pieces of corpse in his fist, the monster called Old Bear stretched out his snake-like tongue and began to lick them. Its true form is a combination of a black python and a brown bear. Alas! I didn't expect that a human A-level psychic would be so vulnerable. Compared to the superpowers of earlier years, these babies are too weak. Could it be that all human superpowers have become weaker? Hehehe, this is good news for the demon race. This human chick looks pretty good. It would be a shame to eat her directly. Why not? A hint of lust flashed in the eyes of the monster covered with silver feathers, and the two blood-colored monsters that appeared behind Chen Yingying immediately understood what he meant. Before Chen Yingying could react, her arms were firmly fixed and her clothes were torn into pieces on the spot. Under Chen Yingying's horrified gaze, the silver-winged monster had already approached and wrapped her tightly with its huge wings. In the dark and bloody cave, only the wailing of pain could be heard. Every inch of land in the border camp seemed to be tightly entangled with the breath of death, and the air was filled with a suffocating atmosphere mixed with blood and despair. The moonlight shines through the sparse clouds, but cannot illuminate this hell shrouded in shadows. It could only cast mottled and distorted shadows on the ground, like the faint light shining through the cracks of the gate of hell. Broken limbs were scattered everywhere, and some arms were still in a posture of asking for help, with fingers bent as if trying to grasp something, but in the end they could only grasp nothingness. The blood flowing on the ground almost dyed the entire land red, and countless monsters were frantically gnawing on the corpses of tourists. Some fools who thought they were smart lay on the ground and pretended to be dead, but in the end they were torn to pieces and eaten alive by monsters while screaming. Even if someone managed to escape, they would be killed by the monster after running for a distance. The size and physical fitness of humans and monsters are so different that this is a completely one-sided massacre. But they seemed not satisfied with the flesh and blood of these ordinary people, and their bloodthirsty eyes looked towards the direction of human habitation in the distance. Chapter 11. Tianshui City. As one of the 4 largest cities with the same population as Linyuan City, the living atmosphere here is not even a little bit worse than that of Linyuan City. This place is in chaos and disorder, which is very different from the prosperity of Linyuan City. Lin Sheng was walking on the streets of Tianshui City wearing a black cloak. He came here to find the Chamber of Commerce to buy supplies. The system has the function of forging weapons, but the corresponding materials need to be handed in. In his early years, he obtained many crystal cores by killing monsters. These crystal cores are one of the important materials for forging weapons. Although he has left the league, he has never had the chance to spend the money he earned over the years. Now is a good time to relax. Although Tianshui City is in chaos, it is like a paradise for those who are rich and powerful. Lin Sheng's purpose of traveling was very clear. He went straight to the Chamber of Commerce in the center of Tianshui City. Tianshui City's Chamber of Commerce is the largest among the 4 major cities. Because this is a chaotic place, murder and robbery can be seen everywhere, and there are countless dirty goods that cannot be seen in public. But once they entered the Chamber of Commerce, the label of dirty goods was cleared and they became commodities with clearly marked prices. This has also become an unspoken rule recognized by the entire alliance. After all, this world has been a place where the strong prey on the weak since the moment superpowers came into being. The rules set by the alliance and its member states can protect the weak to a certain extent. But in the final analysis, you still need to be strong yourself. Even though it was almost closing time, the Chamber of Commerce was still crowded with people. Many people come here to look for products, and even purchasing services have been derived, so the business is extremely prosperous. Lin Sheng went straight to the materials area of a the Chamber of Commerce. The crystal cores dropped by the monster kings he had killed before were of very high level. Therefore, there is no need to purchase more crystal cores. The only problem is the other advanced materials and a lot of basic materials. When the staff of the Chamber of Commerce came forward to inquire, Lin Sheng asked for 2,000 pieces of black iron. This rare and exaggerated number directly shocked the staff. You should know that the price of a piece of black iron is as high as 1,000 alliance coins, which is enough to support a family of 3 for a month. 2,000 pieces of black iron is 2 million alliance coins. This is a big customer. Hey, you brag without thinking. Do you know how much 2,000 pieces of black iron cost? A rich young man dressed in luxurious clothes couldn't help but mock Lin Sheng when he heard that he came here to buy a large amount of black iron. You look so tattered, you don't look like a rich guy. If you mess up the Tianshui Chamber of Commerce, you'll lose your hands and feet. Lin Sheng frowned slightly, ignored the other party, and continued to ask the staff, I want to buy 2,000 pieces of black iron. How much inventory does the Chamber of Commerce have now? Wait a moment, I'll check for you. The staff were genuinely a little skeptical. After all, no one had ever purchased so much black iron at one time. But the nature of their job is that as long as customers make a purchase request, they are obligated to check the inventory. As for whether the deal can be completed later, or whether the customer has the ability to make the deal, that is not something they should consider. When the staff went to check, the rich young man still showed no intention of calming down. Hey, you don't understand what I'm saying to you? Or you can't hear it, are you deaf? Where are the Chamber of Commerce's security personnel? I suggest that you verify your capital before entering the Chamber of Commerce, so that no one can get in. I'm sorry, Master Lu, this person looks unfamiliar. He must have just arrived in Tianshui City not long ago. Don't worry, we'll get him out right away. Several uniformed psychics saw the rich young man mumbling to himself in frustration and ran over tremblingly. The expressions on their faces were full of fear, for fear that their negligence would cause this playboy to fly into a rage. Boy, Tianshui Chamber of Commerce is not a place for you to play truth or dare. Young Master Lu is right. If you disrupt the order here and occupy the resources of the Chamber of Commerce, you will be punished. I advise you to leave as soon as possible, otherwise we won't be so polite to you later. Lin Sheng frowned even more tightly. Because of Su Xing's matter, he had accumulated a lot of anger in his heart, and now someone was actually taking advantage of him. Some psychics with sharper senses also felt that the atmosphere around them had become more subtle. The instinct of living things to seek benefits and avoid harm prompts them to stay as far away as possible from the area where the conflict is about to break out. Before the rich kid called Lu Xiao could open his mouth to mock again, a sharp sound of breaking through the air accompanied by fire and lightning directly slashed his arm. The speed was so fast that before the rich Lu felt any pain, he saw his arm flying away from the corner of his eye. Ah! How dare you hurt me? How dare you hurt me? You bunch of losers, are you just going to stand by and watch? Go and get him for me, or I'll make you pay for it. The severe pain almost made Lu Yushuan lose his mind, and the onlookers around him were also scared and broke out in cold sweats. Ah! This kid really dares to do it. Let's not talk about the consequences of taking action at the Tianshui Chamber of Commerce. The Lu family is one of the 5 major families in Tianshui City. Their power is not something that ordinary psychics can offend. Broken hands aren't a big deal. With the Lu family's background, there must be elixirs to repair broken limbs. It's just that the Lu family dotes on this only son, and Lu Yushuan is a very petty guy. He is used to being arrogant on weekdays, and now he has been humiliated in public. I'm afraid he won't let it go. This kid is finished. If the Chamber of Commerce doesn't take action, the Lu family will. Lu Yushuan, who was extremely angry, did not seem to realize the seriousness of the matter and was still clamoring for the security personnel who barely reached the B-level standard to come forward. Just when the situation was about to get out of control, a gentle female voice interrupted the tense situation. Mr. Lu, the Chamber of Commerce's security guards are not the running dogs of your Lu family. They don't have to listen to your orders. Everyone who comes is a guest. No matter where they come from or where they go, this is the foundation on which our Tianshui Chamber of Commerce relies for its development. Does Mr. Lu think that our Tianshui Chamber of Commerce is not worthy of staying in Tianshui City, or that our Tianshui Chamber of Commerce cannot compare to the foundation of the Lu family here? When he saw the appearance of the person who came, Master Lu, who was still shouting in the last second, shut his mouth instantly. Is this Director Li from the Tianshui Chamber of Commerce? She is really as beautiful and dangerous as the rumors say. Oh my god! With such a figure and such a face, if I could die under the peony flowers, my life would not be in vain. You wish for it. Manager Li is an A-level psychic with the support of the Tianshui Chamber of Commerce. People from the 5 major families have to behave properly when they meet her. Many customers who came to the Chamber of Commerce to choose goods swallowed hard as they watched the beautiful figure slowly walking down from the upstairs. Chapter 12. Lin Sheng glanced over and saw a well-proportioned lady gently waving a folding fan and walking down the stairs on the 2nd floor step by step. She was wearing a well-cut black dress with a gently swaying skirt. Her legs were wrapped in tight black stockings, making them look longer and straighter. The wooden handrails of the stairs seemed to become warmer and more textured under her gentle touch. The moment their eyes met, Li Xin smiled and said, "Hey handsome guy, why don't you give me some face?" It was young Master Lu who caused the trouble first, but he is also a guest of my Tianshui Chamber of Commerce. I heard that you want to buy 2,000 pieces of black iron. I can make the decision and give you a 95% discount. Lin Sheng nodded, indicating that he didn't care. He has seen too many playboys of this level, and there are countless who are stronger and have stronger backgrounds than this guy. In his eyes, this guy is nothing. Haha, since Manager Li is here today, I'll let you go for now. Once you leave the Tianshui Chamber of Commerce, be careful of your life. I not only want you to die, but I also want your relatives and friends to accompany you. Lu Yushuan continued to speak harshly, and the murderous intent and fierceness flashing in his eyes made Lin Sheng feel very unhappy. One of my strengths is that I don't like to let risk factors appear. What? Lin Sheng's words made Lu Yushuan extremely confused, and for a moment he was unable to figure out the deeper meaning of these words. Li Xin, who was still on the stairs, turned pale, and then the other superpowers at the scene retreated violently, including the security guards who also evacuated quickly. Handsome guy. Don't do it. Let's talk it over. But words are not as effective as actions. Before Li Xin could dissuade him, Lin Sheng's ability was activated instantly. The blazing heat instantly burned everything within a 2-meter radius of Lu Yushuan. Lu Yushuan, who was in the state of supernatural power, could do nothing but wail in pain. Many people with special abilities who intended to rescue people were discouraged by the arcs of electricity that kept surging in the flames. If Lin Sheng hadn't deliberately restrained himself, the entire Chamber of Commerce building would no longer exist. No, we can't let this guy die in the Chamber of Commerce. Given the nature of the Lu family, who knows what outrageous things they will do after Lu Yushuan dies. Li Xin just felt extremely overwhelmed. How could Lu Yushuan, that damn kid, provoke this big Buddha? But now is not the time to complain, saving lives is more important. Lin Sheng's eyes narrowed slightly. He naturally felt Li Xion's intention in the attempt to interfere. Since he was promoted to the star level, he could immediately detect any slight fluctuation of supernatural powers in the surroundings. At the moment when the water attribute ability was about to be activated, Li Xion suddenly felt that he was locked by a strong aura. If he made the next move, he might be beheaded. This extremely real and oppressive aura of death made Li Xion's face turn pale instantly. This is a warning. Naked warning. The owner of this energy was clearly telling her that if she dared to attack, she would die. It's not like she hasn't killed anyone before. On the contrary, she killed many people. But such a deep murderous intent can only be possessed by someone who has returned from a sea of a blood and corpses. Who is it? Who is the one who is locking her with this energy? Is it him? Li Xian stared at Lin Sheng with her beautiful eyes, while recovering her stored supernatural powers. She is a smart woman. Although it was troublesome for Lu Yushuan to die in the Chamber of Commerce, it was better than dying by himself. Seeing Li Xin stop, Lin Sheng nodded with satisfaction. He who knows the times is a hero. If Li Xin insisted on saving people, he wouldn't mind killing one more person. I was wrong. Let me go, let me go. I can give you money. I have a lot of money. I will give you as much as you want. If you kill me, the Lu family will not let you go. As long as you let me go, I promise not to pursue the matter. The high temperature that was enough to burn everything put Lu Yushuan in extreme pain. He had a lot of special items on him that could resist superpowers, otherwise he would have been burned to ashes long ago. But those things are just external possessions after all, and it is impossible for them to survive for a long time under the stellar level supernatural powers. All of Lu Yushuan's life-saving trump cards have become ineffective, and now the lightning and fire power is burning his body. Neither you nor the Lu family behind you have the right to bargain with me. Those who commit crimes that are useless to the world should be executed. Lin Sheng raised his hand and waved it. The power that had originally imprisoned Lu Yushuan directly enveloped him, and within a breath of time, he was burned to ashes. Looking at the pool of grey powder on the ground, no one could tell whether it was Lu Yushuan's ashes or the residue of the cargo. You killed someone in public at my Tianshui Chamber of Commerce. Aren't you afraid of revenge from the Lu family? Lin Sheng's expression didn't change much, he just showed a faint smile. The prerequisite for the Lu family to retaliate against me is that the Lu family exists in the world. They no longer exist. To me, the so-called threat is gone, right? Such a domineering speech also caused the crowd present to burst into incredible exclamations. Does this kid know what he's talking about? Destroy the Lu family in Tianshui City? If he relies on himself alone, it is simply a foolish dream. Even if you ask Lin Sheng, the god of war, to come, he wouldn't dare to boast that he can destroy the Lu family directly. The relationship between the 5 major families in Tianshui City is very complicated. They have always prospered together and suffered together. If a catastrophic disaster really happened, they would definitely unite and confront the enemy without hesitation. If you want to destroy the Lu family, it means you have to destroy the other 4 families as well. How easy is that? Lin Sheng naturally heard the discussions around him, but people who achieve great things don't care about trivial matters, so he was too lazy to explain too much to these questioners who were just talking nonsense. Are all the black iron I want ready? Of course, the Chamber of Commerce currently has just enough black iron in stock, but it is distributed in different warehouses, and it will take some time to transfer all of them. Handsome brother, you don't have to worry about the delivery. I can guarantee with the reputation of Tianshui Chamber of Commerce that all the black iron can be delivered by noon tomorrow at the latest. But we don't accept credit here, only cash. If you are a handsome guy and you want to buy on credit. After these words came out, many people were ready to laugh at Lin Sheng. After all, 2 million alliance coins was an astronomical figure. The average F-level psychic can only receive 300 alliance coins and subsidies from the alliance every month. Even the strongest A-level psychic currently only receives a monthly subsidy of 10,000 alliance coins, which means he only has 120,000 alliance coins per year without food or drink. Since I'm here to buy something, I must have enough money on me. I can just swipe this card. Lin Sheng held a black card between his index and middle fingers. He bent his fingertips slightly and the card popped out. Chapter 13. Li Xin felt the force coming straight at his face and had to use his water attribute ability to block the black card. At this level of speed, it would be impossible to intercept it relying solely on her physical strength. If you insist on stopping him, the only way out is to get hurt. When he could see the full picture of the black card, even though Li Xin was knowledgeable, he couldn't help but be shocked. This is a black and gold card specially made by the alliance with a dragon pattern. There is only one in the entire Tianxing alliance, and it is in the hands of the former god of war. Could this very young boy in front of me be the former border god of war? Li Xin carefully looked at the young man in front of him with fair skin and handsome features. She had seen the true appearance of the god of war in some reports. Due to living in harsh environment for a long time, the skin of god of war Lin Sheng is very rough, his eyes are a little red, and his skin has a bronze color that shows explosive power. Anyway, no matter what, it doesn't match the delicate-skinned and tender-looking pretty boy in front of me at all. It's not Li Xion's fault that he didn't recognize him. After being promoted to the star level, all the toxins in his body had been eliminated. The most obvious change brought about by this effect of cleansing the meridians and marrow is his appearance. However, Li Xian did not delve into it and just regarded Lin Sheng as an old friend of the former god of war. The use of the dragon pattern black gold card is anonymous, and no matter who the card holder is, he or she can use this card freely. The essence of a chamber of commerce is to do business. As a businessman, how can you refuse money that comes to your door? Since the amount of this consumption has reached 2 million, you are now the VIP guest of Tianshui Chamber of Commerce. The card transaction process may take some time. During this time, please go upstairs and rest. Li Xian took a half step back, leaned forward and made a gesture of invitation. When the people around saw Li Xian respectfully inviting Lin Sheng to go upstairs, the expressions on their faces were as wonderful as they could be. No, buddy, do you really have the money to buy 2,000 pieces of black iron? There were a lot of people outside just now, and I knelt down for you. Is this a normal person from that business family who came here specifically to monopolize the black iron? Who would buy so much black iron at one time? What a joke. To forge a conventional weapon, you only need a few pieces of black iron at most. Even a weapon with higher strength would only cost hundreds. If you buy 2,000 pieces of black iron at once, I'm afraid they won't be used to forge weapons, but to build Gundams. What no one expected was that Lin Sheng bluntly refused the opportunity to go upstairs. I don't think it's necessary. I'm not interested in what's on your second floor, and I'm even less interested in your status as a VIP. Go swipe your card now, and bring it down to me after you're done. I have other things to do. I will come to pick up the goods tomorrow morning. I believe that with the means of your Chamber of Commerce, you should be able to collect these goods quickly. This was the first time that Li Xin had seen such a generous VIP, and this was also the VIP with the weirdest temper he had ever seen. The second floor of Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce is known as a paradise for men. It is said that every man in the world longs to go there. Although Lin Sheng is not the first person to refuse to go up to the second floor, he is the first in recent years. Okay, wait a moment. It took less than 3 minutes from the time Li Xin went upstairs to the time he came down. While waiting, the people around him returned to normal, but there were still some eyes on Lin Sheng. It was obvious that they were very wary of Lin Sheng, fearing that any of their actions would accidentally provoke this god of death. Of course, there are also some people who want to remember his appearance and plan to go to the Lu family to provide clues and get rewards. After leaving the Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce, the first place Lin Sheng went to was the Lu family in the northeast corner of Tian Shui City. Along the way, Lin Sheng also made a special trip to inquire about the residents of Tian Shui City's impression of the Lu family. In order to avoid spreading false information and misunderstanding the Lu family. But the results of the inquiries along the way were, without exception, all of them wished that this cancer would disappear from the world. The simplest and most brutal way to deal with such a tyrannical family is to exterminate the entire clan. When the psychic who was on guard at the gate of Liu's house saw someone approaching, his first reaction was to drive them away. Hey, who are you doing? This is the Lu family's residence, no outsiders are allowed to approach. Lin Sheng stood there without moving. There was clearly no wind, but the corners of his clothes were moving as if being moved by some force. An unprecedented amount of fiery energy began to surge in his body as he moved his mind. Fire Dragon Dance. The most powerful supernatural power in the world was so powerful that the surrounding air began to distort and deform, making crackling sounds, as if even space could not withstand the compression of this force. An almost visible heat wave surged out of Lin Sheng's body, first forming circles of golden ripples around him, and then these ripples quickly spread, enveloping everything around them. A lifelike flaming dragon condensed behind Lin Sheng, let out a loud dragon roar and rushed towards the Lu family mansion. As the fire dragon continued to twist its body in the air, the surrounding space was distorted by the terrifying high temperature. After the fire, the sound of thunder sounded immediately. Boom! Along with the sound of thunder, the wall of the Lu family mansion shattered like fragile glass under the impact of this force. The huge red sandalwood door was shattered, and the precious wood had turned into worthless debris. Even the walls built with special materials were vulnerable to this destructive force and were easily shattered by the earthquake. The huge noise and the flash of light shook the entire Tian Shui city. What happened? An earthquake? No, there was a strong wave of supernatural power passing by just now. It must be a monster invading. Get your weapons. Level 1 alert. When the crowd gathered, they realized that the location being attacked was not the city wall, but the Lu family's mansion. The once luxurious Lu family mansion has now become a pile of ruins. Countless members of the Lu family were crying for help, and the scene of hell on earth made people gasp. Oh my god, how did it get ruined like this? Fortunately, this attack did not deliberately target anyone. It seemed that it was just to destroy the Lu family's foundation. Otherwise, with that level of attack, I'm afraid none of these people would survive. The people who are still alive are all old, weak, sick, and disabled, and most of them are mediocre. Their families and branches are almost extinct. Who on earth did the Lu family offend? They actually came to our door and beat us up. Haha, it's not surprising. The Lu family has always been arrogant and domineering. Isn't it normal to have some enemies? Especially that Lu Yushuan, who bullies men and women all day long. Isn't it a good thing for someone to enforce justice for him? Don't you know? Lu Yushuan is gone. Just a dozen minutes ago, the Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce was burned to ashes. It seems that it has been swept away and thrown away like garbage. Let's go quickly and stop discussing here. The other 4 major families in Tian Shui City have also sent people over. Even those from the 4 major families couldn't help but shrink their pupils when they saw the scene before them. Even though the attack had happened a long time ago, the residual fluctuations of the supernatural power could still be felt from the scene. This kind of strength is not like that of an ordinary A-level psychic. Could it be that the powerful men from the Tianxing Alliance took action? But in the entire Tianxing Alliance, there seems to be only one person with a strong fire attribute ability. When that name appeared in everyone's mind, they couldn't help but be shocked. God of War Lin Sheng. How could the Lu family offend him? There was indeed an eyewitness who heard a dragon roar coming from here. I'm afraid it was Lin Sheng's famous skill, the Fire Dragon Dance. It must be him. He is the only one in the world who can perform Fire Dragon Dance. Pass the order down. No one is allowed to interfere in matters concerning the Lu family. Anyone who disobeys the order will be expelled from the family. But hasn't Lin Sheng been expelled from the Tianxing Alliance? Why should we be so afraid of him? Are you stupid? Lin Sheng was just expelled from the alliance, not disabled, and his strength will not be reduced. You haven't reached the established level yet, so you naturally can't feel how terrifying the power of an S-level psychic is. I've seen him kill monsters before. With just one move, he burned hundreds of monsters to ashes. When the steward of one of the 4 major families said this, there was a look of respect in his eyes. He is the only S-level psychic in the world, and the strongest in my mind. Even if we put all the lives and property of our 4 major families on the line, we may not be able to shake them in the slightest. Instead of trying to shake a tree with a gnat and damaging its roots, it is better to pretend to be deaf and dumb. This will help preserve our strength. The Liu family's reputation in recent years has not been very good. Especially that son of ABCH Liu Yang, who had previously extended his hand to the younger generation of our Wang family, but Liu Yang was very protective of his son. I was just worried that I had no chance to educate them, but now it seems someone has done it for us. Notify the heads of the other 3 families that we need to plan how to divide the Liu family's assets. By doing this, aren't we violating the contract left by our ancestors? Contract? You don't really think that contract is useful? We are just maintaining a superficial appearance. The contract only restricts the period before the advent of supernatural powers. Since the advent of the supernatural power, the 5 major families seem to be calm on the surface, but in fact, they have begun to stab each other in the back. The Liu family was too arrogant and self-destructive. Someone has to take care of the foundation they left behind. As a family that has cooperated for so many years, we have the obligation and the qualifications to take over their business. As for the rest of their clansmen, what clansmen? Weren't they all wiped out in this attack? That evening, the Liu family of Tianshui City completely disappeared from the world. All fixed assets, including shops and houses, were quickly swallowed up and divided up by the other 4 major families. What was most shocking was that none of the 4 major families continued to hold the attackers accountable. It was as if they had acquiesced to the actions of the mysterious man who had taken action, and this incident also caused an uproar on the internet. After all, as one of the 5 major families in the 4 major cities, the Liu family's background is very exaggerated, with 3 A-level psychics alone. Even if we look at the whole world, the Liu family can be considered a medium-sized family, but it was actually ransacked and exterminated overnight. It is really unbelievable. No one knows exactly what happened. Even though many questions and suspicions continued to ferment on the forum, the other 4 major families turned a deaf ear to them. However, the Tianxing alliance was not among those who were unaware of the news of the extermination of the Liu family in Tianshui City. The news of Lin Sheng's appearance in Tianshui City was soon known to the top leaders of the Tianxing alliance, and a secret meeting was held immediately. What is this guy doing in Tianshui City? He went, but he caused such a big fuss. This is a little different from his past. Is he demonstrating to us? We have to implement our previous plan quickly. As long as the alliance doesn't have an S-level psychic in charge, we won't have the capital to compete with this guy. Humph. It seems that the decision to kick him out of the alliance is correct. How can someone with such an unstable personality who only knows how to kill be worthy of the title of the alliance's god of war? Although Li Bei's is only a B-level psychic, as a law enforcement officer of the trial court, his status is not low, so he also attended the meeting. At this moment, his whole body was shaking constantly, and his hand unconsciously covered the ear that was broken due to injury. To him, this seemed to be some kind of warning to him. Even an aristocratic family can be easily wiped out, let alone an ordinary B-level psychic like him. For a moment, Li Bei's regretted saying such harsh words to Lin Sheng. He could look up and see the alliance leaders sitting next to him, and his heart finally settled down. Now the alliance is advocating the creation of a new S-class superpower. Once there is a new god of war, what will Lin Sheng be? No matter what, he is a law enforcer personally selected by the alliance's top brass and is protected by the alliance's rules. As long as he doesn't make some fatal mistakes in principle, no one can kill him with their own hands. Unless you want to be the enemy of the entire alliance. With such a powerful backer protecting him, what is he worried about? Gather everyone together. In addition to discovering Lin Sheng's whereabouts, there is another thing. Something happened on the southern border. A large number of tourists were killed, and the 6 guards sent over have lost contact. The Lord of Linyuan City has requested to lead an army of supernatural beings to the southern border to investigate the situation and suppress the monsters that have crossed the border. What? Something happened at the border. There's nothing wrong with this proposal. You can just approve it directly. Why do you have to bring it up at the meeting? Because the Lord of Linyuan City has an additional requirement besides leading the team. Personally. Chapter 14. The second day. Lin Sheng went to Tianshui Chamber of Commerce to pick up the goods early. In order not to attract too much attention, Lin Sheng changed his cape to a different color this time. As soon as he entered the gate of Tianshui Chamber of Commerce, Lin Sheng went straight to a staff member and asked whether all the black iron he purchased had arrived. The answer is naturally affirmative. This also made Lin Sheng couldn't help but admire the Tianshui Chamber of Commerce's comfortable efficiency. It took only one night to prepare 2,000 pieces of black iron. Apart from the Tianshui Chamber of Commerce, there are probably not many people who can do it. Sir, Manager Li went out early this morning, so I will be the one to receive you. Manager Li specifically told me before he left that we will give you a 5% discount on this transaction, and give you some extra gifts. This is all a token of our Tianshui Chamber of Commerce's love. The person who came to receive Lin Sheng this time was not Li Xin, but a strange but quite beautiful staff member. After taking the storage ring from the other party, Lin Sheng asked calmly, "Is there a quieter room here?" For such a small request, the Tianshui Chamber of Commerce solved it very quickly. After Lin Sheng entered a secret room, he began to sit cross-legged and placed 2,000 pieces of black iron directly on the ground. System, I want to exchange for the Dragon Abyss Demon Suppression Halberd. Ding. Received the host's exchange request. The target item is Dragon Abyss Demon Suppression Halberd, and the required materials are Black Iron A2000, Demon King Crystal Core A30. It is detected that the host's current items have reached the limit, the redemption process has been started, the current progress is 1%. As the system redemption process started, a fist-sized black hole suddenly appeared in the room. In just a moment, 2,000 pieces of black iron were quickly sucked into this fist-sized black hole. The speed of inhalation was getting faster and faster, and then the temperature in the room became unbearable. It seemed that there was an endless flame in the black hole, and the flame was constantly refining the 2,000 pieces of black iron that had just been sucked in. When Lin Sheng put the 30 Demon King crystal cores in, a strange breath slowly seeped out from the black hole. Ding. The exchange process has ended. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the stellar level weapon Dragon Abyss Demon Suppression Halberd. Long Yuan Demon Suppressing Halberd, a star level weapon, the halberd is as deep as the Dragon Abyss, and contains the power to suppress all monsters. The person holding this weapon will cause additional damage to any creature with supernatural powers. The original location of the black hole was continuously extending, and then it turned into a pitch-black halberd. The halberd was 2 feet long, with lifelike dragon patterns carved on it, and it emitted a faint cold light. After taking a look, Lin Sheng discovered that these dragon patterns were not static, but flowed with the holder's mind. It seems as if there are real dragons surrounding it, and its majesty is inviolable. It is indeed a star-level weapon. 10 years ago, supernatural powers were born, but magical weapons and elixirs were always scarce. In fact, it is even more precious than elixirs. Even though he had made great contributions to guarding the border, the Alliance only gave him an A-level weapon. That weapon was also destroyed in the fierce battle with the Demon King, and he has not obtained another weapon since then. As for S-class weapons, let alone Dragon Country, there is not even one in the entire world, let alone stellar-class weapons. The Dragon Abyss Demon Suppression Halberd in his hand is superior to all the weapons on the entire Blue Star. The key point is still on the characteristics of the Long Yuan Demon Suppressing Halberd. As long as the target has supernatural powers, it can cause additional damage to it. This also makes all his attack methods in the process of fighting monsters and superpowers more effective. When he chose to forge a weapon, he directly chose the most expensive Dragon Abyss Demon Suppression Halberd. This decision was indeed the right one. As the Long Yuan Demon Suppression Halberd was unveiled, a large dark cloud with flashing lightning gathered in the sky above the Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce. The rumbling sound made many residents passing by here frightened, fearing that they would be struck by lightning by accident. Some knowledgeable psychics suddenly became serious when they saw the thunderclouds that lingered for a long time. This is Jayun. There must be a treasure coming out. With a calamity cloud of this magnitude, the thing that has emerged this time is probably not an ordinary thing. Come with me to take a look. The calamity cloud that appeared last time was far less severe than this time, and it had already caused many families to fight and bleed. So this time, these treasures are all ownerless, first come first served. No matter if you are an ordinary person or a noble family, everyone will definitely rush to get them. Since it's ownerless, we'll naturally intervene. No matter what the result is, let's go over and take a look first. For a while, a large number of people with special abilities were lying in ambush near the Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce, including some very powerful ones. Feeling the increasing presence of powerful beings nearby, the personnel of the Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce were also terrified. Because since the establishment of Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce, it seems that it has never been surrounded by many masters. Are they setting a precedent? Everyone, what do you want to do by visiting our Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce? An old steward of the Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce walked out of the gate trembling. He did not have any supernatural power fluctuations and was obviously just an ordinary person. Old man, if you know what's best for you, take out your treasure and let everyone fight it out before deciding who gets it. The Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce is indeed a piece of cake in Tian Shui City, but we are not pushovers. If you want to monopolize the treasure, you have to see if the Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce has such a big appetite. Be careful not to eat yourself to death. Faced with so many people with ill intentions, the old manager of the Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce was sweating profusely on his forehead like a waterfall. Before anyone could continue to interrogate, a violent tremor suddenly erupted from deep within the secret room beneath the Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce. A pressure that makes one's soul tremble is spreading at an extremely fast speed. The supernatural beings below level B simply couldn't bear this kind of pressure and knelt on the ground unable to move. Although the B-level and above psychics did not kneel down, their condition was not much better. Oh no. It seems someone got to this treasure first. Damn it, just a trace of breath can be so terrifying that the treasure is absolutely unparalleled in the world. Boom. There was a thunder in the sky. When the thick lightning snake was about to strike the roof of Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce, it was suddenly intercepted by a mysterious force and then dissipated in an instant. Look, there seems to be a figure over there. I saw it too. This figure seems to be carrying a weapon similar to a spear on his back. He's moving fast. He seems to be moving away from here. The robbery cloud is also moving with him. This guy is so fast that I can't see his moves at all. There were many A-level psychics present, and they were able to barely catch a glimpse of a figure leaving at an extremely fast speed. It was a pity that the figure moved too fast. Even if they tried their best, they could only see a blurry shadow. As the figure left, the terrifying pressure that permeated the scene gradually receded like the tide. Li Xian, who came hurriedly from a distance, couldn't help but feel nervous when he saw Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce was surrounded by so many masters. She was just reporting the transaction process of the 2,000 pieces of black iron to the big boss behind the Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce. How come she was suddenly surrounded by so many people? Especially, what on earth was going on with the calamity cloud that had gathered over the Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce? Could it be that? Is it true that a treasure has been unearthed from the underground of Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce? No, absolutely not. Everyone, there must be some misunderstanding about this matter. The basement of Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce is our warehouse. If there really was a treasure, it would have been auctioned off long ago. How could it have been kept until now? This is a place for doing business, not a safe for storing valuables. How could there be treasures here? Li Xian was able to take the position of director of Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce at such a young age, and her wisdom cannot be ignored. Xiao, are there any guests coming? The girl called Xiao nodded slightly. The customer who bought 2,000 pieces of black iron has arrived, and he also asked for a secret room where he can't be disturbed. This sentence instantly ignited the crowd that had finally calmed down. What? 2,000 pieces of black iron. This is a cost of millions of alliance coins. No wonder the calamity cloud appeared just now. A treasure that can devour 2,000 pieces of black iron must be priceless. Soon, someone automatically connected this incident with the calamity cloud that had just appeared in the sky. In everyone's fixed impression, the strongest blacksmith in the world can only forge A-level weapons. Although A-level weapons are precious, they are still far from being able to trigger calamity clouds. It must be a treasure with the ability to devour an unlimited growth. The man is innocent, but he is guilty of possessing the treasure. With such a rare and powerful treasure, he just left the figure and instantly became the target of the entire Tian Shui city. The news that a treasure had appeared in Tian Shui city and had been seized by a mysterious person was like a huge stone thrown into a calm lake, causing huge ripples. The culprit who disturbed all the superpowers in Tian Shui city was now sitting in a tavern, tasting the fine wine in the glass. Thinking of the scene just now, Lin Sheng couldn't help but sweat. The calamity cloud came with great force and did not give him any chance to prepare. The power of thunder tribulation is very terrifying. With his current strength, he is not afraid of thunder tribulation, but the key is the building of Tian Shui Chamber of Commerce will definitely not be able to withstand it. People were kind enough to provide him with a place to retreat, but he turned around and destroyed their entire Chamber of Commerce. This is more or less unreasonable. In addition, there are more and more supernatural auras around, so the best option is to escape while the chaos is going on. Just as Lin Sheng took the last sip of wine in the glass, the conversation behind him instantly caught his attention. Have you heard? Something happened on the southern border. Chapter 15. What could possibly happen? After that idiot god of war left, didn't 6 A-level psychics take over? A few days ago, it was widely praised on various forums. I'm telling you guys, don't spread rumors. My aunt's second cousin's uncle's classmate's neighbor said that his child signed up for some tour group. Why did he go to the border when there were so many places to go? As a result, he has lost contact recently. He doesn't reply to messages or answer calls. The most important thing is that all the friends who traveled with him have also lost contact. Tisk, what's the big deal? The southern border is a wild place. Maybe there is simply no signal there. No, it's not that simple. Lin Sheng's expression changed slightly. He hadn't paid much attention to the movements of the monster clan recently. Now when I heard someone say there was an incident at the border, I instantly became interested. He really wants to see some bastards get what they deserve. When Lin Sheng was fully focused, he could still clearly hear the conversation of the drinkers at that table even though they were far away and the surrounding environment was noisy. If there is simply no signal, it shouldn't be that even the special communication channel for psychics has no response, right? Not only are a large number of tourists and tour guides missing, but the 6 border guards are also missing. They are genuine A-level psychics, not ordinary people or low-level psychics. It is said that among the defenders this time, there are also children of the Lord of Linyuan City. Oh my god! This is a serious matter. Who said it wasn't true? The Lord of Linyuan City has already made an urgent request to the Alliance. It is estimated that a team of psychics will go to the border to check the situation tomorrow. I guess there won't be many days of peace. The more Lin Sheng listened, the more obvious the smile on his face became. Really? He said that the monster clan couldn't be so honest. At first, he had suppressed the monster tribe's desire to attack, and now without him suppressing them at the border, the monster tribe would inevitably become a sword without a scabbard. In fact, Lin Sheng had some understanding of his own strength in his early years. An ordinary S-level player was not even worthy of carrying his shoes. Presumably, he had already touched the threshold of the star level at that time, but unfortunately he was just one step away from a breakthrough. The emergence of this system is exactly the best breakthrough opportunity he has been waiting for. But before Lin Sheng could be happy for too long, he soon heard another piece of news that shocked him. Alas, it's a pity for this young man Su Xingzhou. He is the youngest A-level psychic in the Alliance, and he is being forced to sacrifice at the border. Ah? What the hell is flag sacrificing? What era is it in? Are you still doing this? Haha, I don't know. Anyway, there will be a big battle between the Alliance and the monsters this time. I know. Su Xingzhou can be considered as Lin Sheng's half-disciple. The good relationship between these two people is known to everyone in the entire Dragon Country and even the Alliance. It is probably because the lord of Linyuan City blamed Lin Sheng for the affairs of his children. And Su Xingzhou is just an excuse to vent. After all, there is no other S-level psychic in the entire alliance. Festival flag? Lin Sheng thought he had heard it wrong. After all, it is really puzzling that such a ridiculous thing happened in a world where superpowers came into being. Although A-level psychics are not rare, they are far from being everywhere on the streets. And right now, when they are in urgent need of people, who came up with this idea of a euro using an A-level superpower person as a sacrifice. But the tone of these people was very confident. In addition, there were all kinds of people in Tianshui City, so it was not surprising that someone knew some secret gossip. Lin Sheng's eyes became increasingly ferocious and terrifying, and the joints of his fingers turned white from the constant clenching of his fingers. Linyuan City, Li family. This bunch of bastards who only know how to do small things behind the scenes didn't dare to attack him, so they actually set their sights on Xiaozhou. For a moment, the supernatural beings in the tavern stopped drinking and picked up their weapons, as if they were facing a formidable enemy. Because they all felt a strong killing intent, as well as a powerful energy fluctuation that could easily crush them to death. Such amazing supernatural power fluctuations are definitely not something that ordinary people can display. Lin Sheng's clenched fist slowly loosened, and the aura that made everyone feel afraid disappeared as his fist stretched out. This matter was full of weirdness, but no matter what happened, he couldn't just leave Xiaozhou alone. After paying the bill, Lin Sheng left the pub directly, looked up at the night sky covered by dark clouds, and his calm state of mind suddenly became extremely irritable. I originally wanted to rest for a while in Tianshui City and enjoy this rare leisure time. Later, I will find a place to hide my identity and live the life of an ordinary person. Now it seems that this idea is impossible. If Su Xingzhou loses his life because of his fault, he will feel guilty for the rest of his life. It takes at least 2 days to reach the border from Linyuan City, and mobilizing a large number of psychics to the border requires layers of approval. Even if the mayor of Linyuan City submits the application personally, it still needs to be reviewed by senior officials of several alliances. According to a rough estimate, it would take them 3 days to reach the border. But Lin Sheng couldn't wait. Who knows what kind of torture Su Xingzhou will suffer in their hands. Every minute they delay, Su Xingzhou will be in greater danger. The moment the shadow step was performed, the figure disappeared, leaving only a series of blurry afterimages in the air. Linyuan City. Stillwater Prison. The scene inside was almost invisible in the dim environment, and occasionally there were sounds of chains colliding and water dripping. What makes people feel the coldest is that all the prisoners here are half soaked in water. Because it is too dark and damp here, prisoners who are detained here for a long time will inevitably have health problems. If you want to escape from here, you can basically only rely on external forces. Breaking out from the inside is almost impossible. The chains of Jingshui prison are made of magic forbidden stones. No matter how powerful a psychic is, once he is imprisoned here, he will be no different from an ordinary person. Su Xingzhou, you must pay the price for your actions and those outrageous remarks. At this moment, Chen Li was standing in front of a figure covered in blood. Looking at the disheveled Su Xingzhou in front of him, there was no trace of joy on his face. Treason? Funny. Chen Go, is there anything wrong with what I said? Su Xingzhou sneered, spat out a mouthful of blood foam, and said with a mocking face, you forced Brother Sheng away, didn't you just think he was hard to control? It's a pity that you, a bunch of pigheads who only know how to compete for power, don't understand that defending the border is not a show. As for your 2 dead sons, it was purely their own fault. Chapter 16. Chen Li's face was so gloomy that water almost dripped out of it. You are really the same as Lin Sheng, both of you are unpleasant guys. You don't have to argue with me now. As soon as the transfer order comes tomorrow, I will take you to the border to be sacrificed. Let your brother Sheng see what happens to those who get close to him. After Chen Li finished speaking, he looked down at Su Xingzhou, as if he wanted to read fear from the other's expression. However, Su Xingzhou not only did not show the slightest fear, but instead laughed out loud towards the sky. Ha 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 ha. Chen Go, you don't think this can scare me, do you? You can kill me or chop me up, it's up to you. I want to see how long this broken alliance can survive. Before I entered Jingshui prison, I heard that not only has the border been lost, but some nearby cities have also been attacked by monsters. Without Brother Sheng here, what use can those useless paper tigers be? You are still so stubborn. When your head falls off, I'll see if you can still laugh. Chen Li realized that he couldn't gain any advantage over Su Xingzhou in terms of words, so he didn't bother to argue with him any further. Otherwise, if I say a few more words here, I'm afraid that part of my life will be tortured away for nothing. In fact, as a father, Chen Li did not feel too sad about the death of Chen Tian and Chen Yingying. Because he has many illegitimate sons and daughters outside, and their strength and talent are far inferior to these two. In the past, he had always been hindered by the fact that his first wives, that is, Chen Tian and Chen Yingying, had higher status and their mother's family was powerful, so it was not good to expose the fact that he had many sons and daughters. It has been kept secret until now, and everyone outside believes that Chen Li only has 2 children, Chen Tian and Chen Yingying. Chen Li was walking in the passage leading to the exit of Jingshui prison, but the smile on his face was so strange that it made people's hair stand on end. He knew his wife very well and doted on Chen Tian much more than on the more outstanding Chen Yingying. Now, her 2 children, whom she regarded as her support for the rest of her life, have been killed in the defense of the border. Given that crazy woman's personality, she would definitely implicate a lot of people in this matter in order to temporarily ease her grief. And he can use this opportunity to wipe out many people he doesn't like in the alliance. This action will certainly make many high-ranking officials in the alliance unhappy, and all of this can be borne by the mother family of that crazy woman. At that time, he only needs to perform a drama of sacrificing relatives for the sake of justice, and his support rate among the people will surely surge. Maybe I can take this opportunity to join the alliance's board of directors. When I thought that all the results were going in a good direction, I couldn't help but feel the joy from the bottom of my heart. Call out. Boom. A pitch-black halberd directly penetrated through the layers of obstacles in the Jingshui prison and stabbed directly into the steps in front of Chen Li. The aftershocks from the high-speed penetration and landing threw him flying on the spot, and he hit the cage on the side hard. Chen Li spat out a large mouthful of blood, staring at the black halberd in a panic, his eyes full of horror. If he had been a step faster, the black halberd would have hit his head instead of the floor tiles. All residents of Linyuan City, regardless of strength, gender, age, or status, heard a deafening explosion at this moment. Those who were closer to Jingshui prison heard a melodious sound of breaking through the air before the explosion. The black light, which was wrapped in electricity and fire, cut through the night sky at such a fast speed and with such a mighty momentum that it seemed to split the entire night sky in two. All the guards and prisoners in the entire Jingshui prison were shocked. Since the establishment of Jingshui prison, there has never been a supernatural being coming here to cause trouble, let alone a situation like this. Someone attacked the Jingshui prison. How dare you attack the Jingshui prison in public? You are really asking for your life. Notify the alliance immediately. It seems that a powerful supernatural being is preparing to attack Jingshui prison. Mobilize all available defense forces and make sure to repair every damaged part of the building as soon as possible to ensure that no prisoners in the Jingshui prison escape. In addition, there is no need to leave any of the attackers alive. Just kill them with all your might. Orders one after another were issued layer by layer the moment Jingshui prison was penetrated. Because the bottom line of the Skywalker Alliance is the pure water prison. According to the principles followed by the Alliance, anyone who can enter here is harmful to the Alliance. If this place is breached, it means that the Alliance's bottom line has been breached and its credibility among the people has seriously declined. The superpowers in the Alliance are not only from Dragon Country, but also from 7 other countries including Sakura Country and the United States. All of a sudden, all the B-level and above supernatural beings near Jingshui prison received the order to assemble. The moon is bright and the sky is dotted with stars. A human figure was floating in the moonlit night sky. Lin Sheng's eyes were silent as he looked at the equally silent Jingshui prison, sneering in his heart. I still remember that a few days ago, someone threatened to put him in Jingshui prison. The League is truly sick. Su Xingzhou, such an honest, reliable, and talented young man, was thrown into Jingshui prison. What future does he have? Now, he is back. Then the Jingshui prison would no longer exist. Lin Sheng gently moved his right hand in the air. The Dragon Abyss Demon Suppression Halberd, which was almost completely submerged under the floor tiles, was summoned by something. It trembled slightly and flew directly into the air. Within 3 breaths, anyone who leaves Jingshui prison will not be killed. Lin Sheng's shouting, enhanced by his supernatural power, spread far away, and even Su Xingzhou, who was in the deepest part of Jingshui prison, could hear it very clearly. Su Xingzhou, with a dim look in his eyes, suddenly raised his head. Even though he couldn't see now, he still stared at the ceiling. This sound. It's Brother Sheng. It was Brother Sheng who came to save him. But after a brief shock, my heart was instantly filled with worry. This is Jingshui prison, the area where the supernatural resources of the entire Tianxing Alliance are most concentrated. In the 1 stick of incense time it takes for the attack signal to be sent out, at least 50 A-level psychics will arrive. No matter how strong an S-class psychic is, he won't be able to maintain the upper hand under the attacks of a large number of A-class psychics. Especially now that he is still locked up by the Forbidden Magic Stone, he can't provide any help to Lin Sheng at all, and will become a burden to him instead. Brother Sheng. Don't worry about me. They have already mobilized the superpowers here. If you don't leave now, you may not be able to leave later. Chapter 17. Without any supernatural powers, and having been tortured by the guards and Chen Li for a whole day, Su Xingzhu's voice became hoarse. The cells in Jingshui prison are specially designed, and the voices of ordinary people cannot be heard at all. Why are you yelling? Even if the gods come, they can't rescue you. Just give up on this idea. I never thought you were so lucky that someone would be willing to jailbreak you. A guard was checking the cells and happened to pass by the cell where Su Xingzhou was imprisoned. He couldn't help but taunted, it's a pity that they will die here soon. In the fixed mindset of these guards, it is impossible for someone to come alone to break into the prison. Some A-level psychics already have the ability to fly briefly in the air, and soon several flashes of light hovered over the pure water prison. These people were of different sizes and came from various countries. It was obvious that they were urgently summoned from nearby. Who are you? How dare you break into Jingshui prison? To be able to reach this level, the process of cultivation is not easy. If this friend is willing to leave this time, we can pretend that we didn't see anything. Shit. I was just discussing my life ideals with my number 37 timekeeper when I suddenly received an emergency transfer order. You better be in trouble. Wait, this person's aura is somewhat familiar. Why do I feel like I've encountered it somewhere before? Isn't this normal? There are only so many A-level psychics, so it's not surprising to run into familiar faces. Looking at the unfamiliar faces appearing in front of him, Lin Sheng had no intention of giving them face. Start counting from now on, 3 breaths. The indifferent voice sent a chill through the hearts of the A-level psychics who had arrived earlier. The strength of the man in front of him was unknown, but his tone and attitude were extremely tough, so he must be no ordinary person. What's more, this is a tough guy who broke into the Jingshui prison. I'm afraid this battle tonight will not end peacefully. You are such a weird person, you can't understand me when I talk to you nicely, right? Relying on your slightly stronger strength, do you really think you can do whatever the heck you want in this world? 3 breaths. Even if you give me 30 breaths, I won't leave here. A supernatural person from Sakura country looked disdainful, and seemed to want to show off in front of his companions, so he took the lead and attacked Lin Sheng. The moment he made his move, the shadow of a giant python faintly appeared behind him. Is this, the Yamata no Orokai of Sakura country? It is said that if you practice it to the highest level, you can summon the Yamata no Orokai. Once this kind of secret technique is cultivated and begins to show initial results, the combat capability will skyrocket, crushing those with the same level of abilities. Several A-level psychics immediately revealed a look of envy in their eyes. Every country has its own secret inheritance, but these secrets are only open to people with outstanding achievements. And it is forbidden for supernatural beings to teach each other secret techniques. On the premise of being at the same level, the more additional means one has, the stronger the combat power will be among the same level. This is the best way to make a difference. Listening to the discussions behind his back, the Sakura country psychic who made the move immediately revealed a smug look on his face, and at the same time, his move became even more fierce. Lin Sheng glanced at the shadow behind him calmly. Is this the level of the inheritance secret method of Sakura country? Ridiculous. It's flashy and just a way to attract attention. As Lin Sheng's murderous intent gradually grew, overwhelming supernatural powers gathered from all directions. The Sakura country psychic only felt that his body was bound by a mysterious force, as if he was trapped in a swamp. No matter how he struggled, he could not escape from this mysterious power. And this feeling of restraint does not last forever. He just felt that breathing was becoming increasingly difficult, and before he could call for help from his companions, he was crushed on the spot by this irresistible force. The blood and flesh all over the sky fell like rain, hitting the ground with a clattering sound. This scene directly shocked the hearts of several A-level psychics present, leaving an indelible psychological trauma. Killed in seconds. How could an A-level psychic who had practiced the secret method inherited from the Sakura country be killed so easily? What is the opponent's strength? Why do I feel that he is far beyond the ranks of A-level psychics? One thought came to everyone's mind. What they have to face is not an ordinary or slightly stronger A-level mutant, but an S-class psychic who is much more powerful than them. But there is only one known S-level psychic. God of War Lin Sheng. Everyone's eyes immediately caught sight of the pitch-black halberd on Lin Sheng's back. They had never heard of Lin Sheng having such a weapon. Could it be? There is already a second S-class mutant in this world? But why didn't they hear any news? Many suspicions and assumptions made everyone present upset, and the previous contempt completely disappeared. If the person in front of them is really an S-level superpower, then they may not be able to defend Jingshui prison tonight. Even if we really defend this place, we will probably have to pay a heavy price. The situation seemed to be at a stalemate, and more psychics were joining in the stalemate. The news of the attack on Jingshui prison has been spreading for a long time, and every psychic who received the news rushed to the scene as quickly as possible. But when they arrived at the scene, they could feel that something was wrong with the atmosphere. Obviously, they had an absolute numerical advantage and the other side only had one person, but the battle had not yet started. The reason for such calmness seems to be that the psychics on the alliance side are unwilling to take the initiative. Some psychics who didn't understand what was going on even thought that the psychic who came to break into the prison was someone they knew, so this absolutely crushing death battle didn't break out. Who is this guy? There are so many A-level psychics here, but he hasn't been killed on the spot yet. I'm afraid he has some connections in the alliance, but it's really puzzling, how could someone with connections fall to the point of jailbreaking? Stop guessing. Don't you see the blood and flesh on the ground? It should be that a superpower was killed. From the badge mixed in the flesh and blood, it shouldn't be hard for you to tell that this is a mutant from the alliance, right? To be able to arrive at the scene so quickly, he must be an A-level psychic. An A-level psychic died in a short time. The opponent must have used some very powerful means. Chapter 18. Not everyone in the Tianxing alliance didn't recognize Lin Sheng. Some of the older psychics felt that this unknown strong man in the sky was somewhat familiar. Oh no. I feel like this guy looks familiar. It seems to be Lin Sheng. Is it the senior who single-handedly guarded the southern border for 10 years? Oh my god. If this is really the God of War Lin Sheng, then my trip tonight is really worth it. I have always wanted to meet the senior to discuss my experience in getting promoted, but I have never had the chance. Wait, you seem to have overlooked a problem. Lin Sheng's attitude towards us now does not seem to be friendly. Who is imprisoned in the pure water prison? Who could make this powerful being so angry? Lin Sheng didn't have time to listen to their nonsense. Seeing that these people were still standing there unmoved, the last bit of patience in his heart was completely wiped out. Since everyone is not leaving, whether you can survive the next move depends on your ability. As soon as these words were spoken, all the superpower users' faces suddenly changed and they instinctively retreated desperately. They had all heard that the God of War Lin Sheng had a move that was not only heaven-destroying but also extremely lethal when used. Because of his powerful skills, he once killed 37 Demon Kings in succession by himself. Such achievements in combat power, so far, no other superpower can match it, let alone surpass it. It is no exaggeration to say that among the superpowers of the Tianxing Alliance, nearly half of them regard Lin Sheng as their target. There are also some people who joined the Tianxing Alliance purely to find a chance to contact Lin Sheng. A few days ago, after Lin Sheng announced his withdrawal from the Tianxing Alliance, a wave of withdrawal from the alliance was also set off. It's a pity that this wave of withdrawal from the alliance was forcibly stopped for some unknown reason, as if it was resolved by an unknown force. On Lin Sheng's palm, a powerful aura of supernatural power quietly spread out, and then he forcibly compressed it into a small point of light. Eventually, this small point of light turned into a small, seemingly inconspicuous flame. Secret technique, extreme flame fall. What no one present had expected was that the heat from this tiny flame would actually burn the originally empty space and cause it to begin to distort. The flames emitted even dyed the surrounding air an ominous red. Extreme flame fall is a secret skill that Lin Sheng had learned before. It is not only a sign of fire, but also the awakening of the purest and most intense energy between heaven and earth. Not only is the range of extreme flame falling extremely large, but the power it explodes after it is fully charged is also extremely astonishing. Especially after Lin Sheng successfully advanced to the star level, the power of extreme flame falling heaven increased by more than one level. If it were before, Lin Sheng would also come to Jingshui prison to rescue people, but his methods would be more gentle than now. Now that he has become stronger, there is no need to waste time talking to these people. The reason why there is the step of discussion and negotiation is simply because one feels that one's own strength is not enough to completely convince the other party. When there is an extremely unequal power gap between the two sides, forbidden magic stone. The principle behind the existence of this thing is nothing more than being able to absorb supernatural powers and turn them into nothingness. Currently, the vast majority of people with special abilities in the world do not have enough special abilities left in their bodies to transcend the scope of the forbidden magic stone. However, Lin Sheng's existence itself is beyond the reality and common sense. Even the water purification prison made of a large number of forbidden magic stones is still vulnerable. In the face of a vast amount of supernatural powers, it is only a matter of time before all the magic forbidden stones are crushed. The charging process of extreme flame falling was not very long. In just 2 breaths, the small flame had grown into a red and purple fire lotus. The temperature was so hot that it burned cracks all over the space, as if it was about to break apart. Lin Sheng expressionlessly pushed the fire lotus in his hand forward slightly, and the flames in his palm burst out instantly. The fire lotus was like an arrow shot from a bow, and it reached Jingshui prison almost instantly. The moment the fire lotus transformed by the fallen flame came into contact with the building, it instantly transformed into a dazzling pillar of fire that shot straight into the sky, illuminating the entire sky like daylight. The forbidden magic stone, which the top leaders of the Tianxing Alliance trusted, was as fragile as a piece of thin ice at this moment. Under this move, most of the Jingshui prison was destroyed, and the remaining temperature of the fire lotus even burned the cells where the prisoners were imprisoned into dust. The aftermath of the explosion injured some of the psychics who were unable to run far away. For a while, the sound of vomiting blood and wailing could be heard continuously. What a terrifying secret technique. If I had run a little slower just now, I would have definitely died there. Damn it, I'm still a little scared. I should have retreated as soon as I realized the other party was Lin Sheng. Can a person with special abilities who has been guarding the southern border for 10 years by himself be considered an ordinary person? Is this the strength of an S-class psychic? The gap between us A-class psychics is too exaggerated. Damn it, those bastards at the superpower command actually asked me to come and stop an S-level superpower user. Isn't this like a mantis trying to stop a chariot? Haha, it turns out that giving orders doesn't cost anything. Just talking makes people come to fight for you. I will definitely not participate in this battle. Just based on the power of this attack, even 100 of me will not be enough to kill me. Oh my god, the amount of forbidden magic stones in the pure water prison is extremely terrifying, almost all the reserves of the entire alliance are gathered together. This level of forbidden magic stone is a lethal dose, enough to make us lose our fighting power, but in front of Lin Sheng, it is so vulnerable. If I'm not mistaken, that terrifying fire lotus seems to have crossed the spatial dimension and directly hit the wall of the pure water prison. That's right, you're not the only one who saw it. I also saw the fire lotus crossing the spatial dimension just now. What do you mean? Is there any A-level psychic who can explain it to me? I'm just a B-level psychic and can't even reach this level. In short, some attacks with relatively strong energy fluctuations can directly tear apart space and shorten the physical distance between the two. From the perspective, it looks like the attack reaches the designated location instantly, but in reality it is only so fast that it can cross space. Yes. Doesn't that mean there is no room to dodge an attack of this magnitude? That's not a problem. At least before we break through to S rank, there's no room for resistance. Chapter 19. All the superpowers, including the A-level superpowers, were still terrified by what had just happened. Some of them still had some hope when they first received the order. I think that they have enough numbers, and maybe they can actually increase their popularity in the alliance by defeating S-level psychics. After all, Lin Sheng is the only S-level supernatural being in the world, and the prestige and fame he has accumulated over the years are difficult to surpass. Even though they have been eliminated from the Tianxing Alliance, black and red are still a kind of red. It's not just these people with special abilities who are affected, the ones who are most affected are the prisoners in Jingshui prison. I'm free. I've been imprisoned here for 5 years, and I never thought I'd be able to see the light of day again one day. I don't know which strong man took action to destroy this damn place, but it was my reborn parents. Every wrong has its perpetrator, every debt has its creditor. Once I have recovered from my grievances, I will go find that XX law enforcement officer who framed me for a crime. The prisoners who regained their freedom cheered loudly and bowed to Lin Sheng, who was suspended in the air, expressing their highest gratitude. They don't care at all who destroyed the pure water prison or for what reason. As long as they can leave here, all their motives will be the purest reasons in the world. Lin Sheng would not embarrass these prisoners. The contributions made by the Tianxing Alliance over the years are certainly indelible. But where there are people, there will be rivers and lakes. The disputes between power and forces will inevitably give rise to many victims. Not all prisoners in the Jingshui prison are guilty. Perhaps some innocent people have become scapegoats for the conflict. Su Xingzhou, who was imprisoned in the deepest part of Jingshui prison, suddenly felt that the ceiling above his head seemed to have disappeared. A dazzling light flashed by, and in the dark night sky, a figure that he was so familiar with was floating. The moment Lin Sheng saw Su Xingzhou, he also saw a very familiar figure not far away. It was because he felt this aura at that time that he chose to cast out the Long Yuan demon-suppressing artifact in order to kill it. It's a pity that because there are too many magic forbidden stones in Jingshui prison, his perception of the aura is slightly deviated, which is why the other party has survived until now. Chen Li, long time no see. Lin Sheng's eyes were cold, and his tone of voice became low inadvertently. Chen Li, who had fallen to the ground with weak legs, heard the familiar voice, raised his head in shock, and the moment he looked into Lin Sheng's eyes, he felt as if he had fallen into an icy cave. Lina Euro Lin Sheng. Haven't you been kicked out of the Tianxing Alliance? You openly attacked a city lord level person, you deserve to be killed. Now they have destroyed Jingshui prison, which is an even greater crime. Come quickly. Whoever can kill Lin Sheng can be a guest of honor in my Chen family. Not only can you enjoy wealth and glory, I can also use the power in my hands to find you a position in the alliance. In Chen Li's eyes, there will always be brave men in the world who are willing to sacrifice their lives for a large sum of money. As long as enough money is given, there will definitely be people who are willing to die. But he overlooked the most crucial issue. Brave men are not foolish men. They are just willing to fight hard under the temptation of these huge benefits. The current situation is that even if they risk their lives, they won't have the slightest chance. There is no value in sending yourself to die. Especially since they were dying for Chen Li and giving their lives for a little personal promise and reward, no one would remember their great achievements, and naturally no one would be willing to sacrifice their own life. If it is for the sake of national justice and the interests of the country and the family, then perhaps there will be some passionate people who will take the initiative to step forward. Justice is in the hearts of the people, and truth is in the hearts of the people. Chen Li, you have abused many civilians and people with special abilities over the years. I didn't want to kill you, but your behavior makes me very unhappy. Lin Sheng casually stretched out his hand, as if grabbing an invisible wisp of wind in the air. As his will surged, boundless supernatural powers seemed to evolve into many invisible chains, instantly crossing the boundaries of space and firmly locking Chen Li. Lin Sheng, you think you are invincible now, but have you ever thought that many people have suffered unnecessary pain because of you? Feeling the surging supernatural power around him and the pain of his body being gradually torn apart by this force, Chen Li's face no longer had the panic and helplessness he had just had. Since I am going to die, I will stab him in the heart a few more times before I die. Su Xingzhou, he is just one of many victims. Anyone who has any connection with you, even if it's just because of a close relationship. When Lin Sheng heard this, a complex emotion flashed across his brows, but it was quickly replaced by coldness. He did not respond to Chen Li's words, but just stared at the other person coldly with those eyes that seemed to be able to see through people's hearts. Snap! Ah! The piercing pain made Chen Li howl, and his right arm drooped instantly. But what surprised Lin Sheng was that after a brief howl of pain, Chen Li continued to laugh hideously. Ha 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 ha, do you think this will make me shut up? I'm telling you, Lin Sheng, I've already made all the necessary preparations. Before I decided to take action against Su Xingzhou, all my plans had already been implemented. There is a guy named Meng Kaiu, he is your high school classmate. He used to be an ordinary clerk in the alliance, but now. It must have been gnawed by the ferocious beasts raised by the Chen family until not even a bone is left. There's also a guy called Yu Hanan, who I heard was your childhood friend. I made him into a human pig and put him on the street for people to see. There are many, many more people, and their miserable condition is my gift to you. I want you to feel the pain of everyone leaving you, and to realize clearly that your impulsive behavior has caused so many people to suffer in vain. The coldness in Lin Sheng's eyes became even stronger, and the murderous intent in his eyes was almost solidified. With a slight thought, he broke Chen Li's other arm again. Threats are the most cowardly means. You are provoking me, do you want me to kill you directly? No, 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 since you said it yourself, the decision you made has implicated many innocent people. Then killing you directly would be too merciful to you, so I decided. Let me show you how it feels to be tortured to death. Moreover, I will also condense the image of you being tortured into a projection and send it back to your Chen family. I want everyone in the Chen family to witness your death with their own eyes, and then I will send them down to see you. Chapter 20. Before Chen Li could recover from his shock, Lin Sheng's fingers had already formed a dazzling lightning and fire-flying knife. Chen Li, who was imprisoned by the supernatural power, could not move and could only watch the flying knife cut off his flesh and blood. It's a pity that there is no fishing net now, otherwise I would be able to carve you into thousands of even and fine pieces. There was a hint of regret in Lin Sheng's voice, which made Chen Li feel cold all over, it would be great if you could be sent home after being cut into pieces, and used as a jigsaw puzzle toy for your loved ones. However, the pain of having your flesh and bones scraped off can also allow you to experience the most extreme pain in the world before you die. Driven by Lin Sheng's thoughts, the thunder fire flying knife seemed to have life, dancing on Chen Li's body. Every swing was accompanied by Chen Li's heart-wrenching screams. Even though Chen Li is now like a madman, this pain that strikes his soul is still unbearable for him. The already silent scene became even more eerie because of Chen Li's screams. There are more than 200 people with special abilities around, but no one dares to act rashly. They were clearly asked to come in and circle and suppress the attackers, but now it has turned into a scene of watching an execution. The greatest pain of Lingqi is that it does not allow the victim to die quickly. Ancient books record that many cases of Lingqi lasted as long as 1 or 2 days. Under the constraints of various conditions, the prisoners were unable to make any move of resistance and could only watch their flesh and blood being cut. The double torture of physical and psychological torture is impossible to endure even for a person with strong mental qualities. Especially now that there are so many people watching around, it is even more difficult for Chen Li, who is used to being high and mighty, to accept it. Kill me, kill me. Killing you is necessary, but you must enjoy the process. Lin Sheng sneered repeatedly, without a trace of warmth in his eyes, and looked at Chen Li as if he was looking at a dead person. While cutting, the thunder fire flying knife also released blazing heat, cruelly burning the wound, deliberately magnifying Chen Li's pain infinitely. The purpose of doing this is not because Lin Sheng is kind and wants to save Chen Li's life. The purpose is to prolong the time of punishment to the maximum extent possible. What he wanted was for Chen Li to die in agony, not to bleed to death because of his clumsy technique. The pain that went straight to his head made Chen Li lose the will to live several times, and he even wanted to bite his tongue to commit suicide. But in front of Lin Sheng, he couldn't even do something as simple as committing suicide. You are a devil. You use such means to destroy a city lord level personnel. You will never have a place in the alliance in the future. A place to stand. Lin Sheng seemed to have heard a big joke. After laughing twice, he said coldly, the so-called Alliance Council is nothing more than a gathering place for a group of profit-seeking guys. They have 10,000 ways to ruin your reputation. Why would they offend an S-class mutant like me just for a dying useless person like you? Don't think that everything you do is perfect. If God doesn't give you retribution, I will give it to you. After saying this, Lin Sheng no longer focused all his attention on Chen Li, who could only scream. The torture process will continue for some time, and all the scenes during this period are recorded by him using his supernatural powers. After the torture is completed, he only needs to inject this part of the supernatural power into a crystal core to preserve it. Seeing Lin Sheng slowly flying towards the ground, the spectators who were immersed in watching the show suddenly panicked. Oh no! He's coming towards us. I have something else to do tonight, so I'll leave first. I have to go to the border to kill monsters in a few days, and I absolutely cannot die here. You're right. Killing foreign enemies and dying in battle is a man's true nature. But dying at the hands of your own god of war is a little hard to justify. What happened tonight is Chen Li's own fault. It has nothing to do with us. Many A-level psychics took the lead in retreating, and each one left faster than the other, fearing that if they ran too slowly they would not be able to leave. When the remaining B-level psychics saw that those who were stronger than themselves had left, they naturally had no reason to stay and seek death. And many people bowed to Lin Sheng before leaving, showing great respect. Lin Sheng saw all of this, but he did not make things difficult for these people's thoughts and actions. After all, as a member of the Tianxing Alliance, it is impossible for him to disobey the orders given by his superiors at will. To put it bluntly, these people are just being used as guns. He was once a member of the Tianxing Alliance. As long as these people were not his enemy in their subjective consciousness, why would the workers make things difficult for the workers? As for the prisoners who fled to the surrounding areas, Lin Sheng would not interfere and capture them. Once people worry too much, they will be greatly restricted in both strength and thinking. He used to burden himself with too many thoughts, which led to him being cautious in doing things and thinking about problems. There are times when it doesn't hurt to be decisive. Xiaozhou, how are you? Lin Sheng landed steadily on the ground, and with a slight wave of his hand, he broke all the chains that bound Su Xingzhu's arms. As the chain fell to the ground with a snap, Su Xingzhu, who had lost his strength, was unable to stand and fell directly to his knees. After Lin Sheng used his supernatural powers to examine Su Xingzhu's body, the anger in his heart reached its peak at this moment. When he examined her, he discovered that all the tendons in her hands and feet had been severed. Unless there is a pill with a strong recovery effect, he will be a bedridden useless man for the rest of his life. A promising S-class superpower was destroyed by the Tianxing Alliance. Brother Sheng. Go away. The Alliance might have some more cards up its sleeve. It's been more than 10 minutes since you came here. I know you are very strong. Once more people come to support you, it will be difficult for you to escape unscathed. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices for me. My life has already. Su Xingzhu clenched his teeth and tried hard to turn his face away. To be honest, he really didn't want Lin Sheng to see him like this. He felt that he had let Lin Sheng down. In fact, he could have avoided such an embarrassing ending. But that BD actually asked him to cooperate with the Alliance and continue to throw dirty water on Lin Sheng. He even wanted to plot some tricks and use him as a pretext to persecute Lin Sheng. This is something Su Xingzhu cannot accept. Even if he dies, his faith will never waver. Chapter 21. No one can hurt you while I'm here. Lin Sheng calmed down all his emotions. Since the problem had already occurred, he had to find a way to solve it. Even though Lin Sheng wasn't quite sure what had happened, based on his understanding of Su Xingzhou, he was probably just being stubborn again. Although the meridians in your hands and feet are severed, there is still a way to treat you. I will temporarily reconnect your hand and foot tendons. You will have no problem moving around, but you won't be able to use your supernatural powers. I'll find another opportunity later and see if I can help you find a pill that can connect your tendons. What Lin Sheng meant by looking for opportunities was naturally to see if he could get such things in the systems exchange mall. After all, if they can even exchange for stellar weapons, then a mere recovery pill must be no problem. Thump. Plop. Hearing the muffled sound coming from behind him, Lin Sheng subconsciously turned around, but the scene in front of him stunned him. Dozens of prisoners in prison uniforms were kneeling upright in the ruins behind him. Some prisoners who had already left in the distance took the initiative to turn back and join the ranks of those kneeling on the ground. You guys, what are you doing? Lord God of War. The current Tianxing Alliance is no longer the Tianxing Alliance that once pleaded for the people. Since the alliance is corrupt, we beg you to overthrow it and eliminate the pests. I beg you to overthrow the alliance and eliminate the pests. The overwhelming request surprised Lin Sheng. The first reaction of these people was not to escape, but to ask him to save this corrupt alliance. Aren't you afraid that I will hang you in the sky and torture you to death? Don't be afraid. Your Excellency came here to save people. The fact that you came to Jingshui prison to save people is enough to show that you value friendship and loyalty. We have also heard about the great god's departure from the Tianxing Alliance, and we are all outraged by his departure. What's more, we have been destroyed by those parasites in the alliance, and we will only end up in exile if we leave now. Instead of living a boring life in a muddle, it is better to fight for your beliefs at the end of your life. If I can use my worthless life to help more people live a peaceful life, it will be worth it. Although their voices were hoarse due to long-term repression, they were full of power at this moment. It was a cry from the depths of the soul, a roar against the unfair fate. Most of those kneeling on the ground were men in their 30s or 40s, but at this moment their eyes were filled with tears. These people are in their prime and should have harmonious relationships with their wives and children and happy families. However, he was ruined by those powerful people and his family was destroyed, and he was even imprisoned in Jingshui prison with no hope of escape. How can they not hate? How can they not be angry? When you see cockroaches running rampant in the open, it means that the cockroaches in the dark can no longer hide. But they are all just ordinary little people without power or influence, and their own strength is very low. Trying to fight against that behemoth on your own is like trying to stop a chariot with your bare hands, which will only lead to your own destruction. While in Jingshui prison, they had already given up all hope, waiting for life to pass away in endless despair. But today, tonight, at this moment, Lin Sheng's appearance is like a ray of the brightest light in their dark lives. This person not only relied on his own strength to directly intimidate all the superpowers who had the money to come here to support. He even went so far as to recklessly torture a City Lord level alliance member to death on the spot. No matter in terms of strength or courage, he is the most powerful person they have ever seen in their lives, no doubt about it. It is precisely because of this that they risked losing their hard-earned freedom and knelt down together to plead for their lives. Overthrowing the alliance is not something that can be accomplished overnight, and things are not as simple as you think. I don't want to become a killing machine, even if I have the ability to do so. Even if I don't intervene, the demise of the Tianxing Alliance is only a matter of time. This was destined from the moment they used the lives of civilians to frame me. Lin Sheng turned around and looked directly at the people kneeling on the ground. I don't want to be betrayed a second time. There are too many people in the world who are oppressed by the alliance. Even if I can save you, I may not be able to save them. My lord, I think you misunderstood us. The strong man kneeling in the front, who was muscular but missing an eye, said in a very firm tone, all we want is your support and reputation. Without a strong leader, our resistance organizations are just a pile of loose sand. They will always have concerns, worrying about being killed by A-level psychics, or some powerful psychics want to join us but are afraid that we don't have any trump cards. You only have one chance to resist. Once you fail, all those involved will be subjected to the most brutal torture. But it's different with you here. You have the most powerful fighting power in the world. Even if you don't take action, it's a great encouragement to us. After the strong man finished speaking, he kowtowed without hesitation. Because of excessive force, the moment his forehead touched the tile, blood immediately flowed out. We are willing to sacrifice our lives, please grant us your blessing. Lin Sheng looked at these people with great satisfaction, their attitudes were more resolute than he had imagined. The alliance controls all the territories of the current human world. Overthrowing the entire alliance is indeed a huge project. But it is quite a pleasure to witness such a huge thing being torn to pieces. He made indelible contributions to the rise of this behemoth, but in the end, he got a conspiracy that stabbed him in the back. Now, a small city lord level official can take the initiative to target innocent people who are related to him. That higher level of existence. What rights should they have? How many innocent people will suffer the disaster? In that case, just go ahead and do it. Lin Sheng took out the pen and ink from the storage space, and took out a blank scroll, writing and drawing on it for a while. After the ink on the scroll dried up, he waved his hand and threw the scroll into the sturdy man's hands. If you encounter a powerful being that you cannot defeat, show them this scroll. After getting Lin Sheng's approval, the prisoners kneeling on the ground were as happy as half-grown children. Especially the strong man who took the scroll, he couldn't help but feel a sore nose, and 2 lines of tears flowed down his face. Chapter 22. Lin Sheng. It's really you. We attacked the Alliance's important base. Considering your contributions to the Alliance, I will spare your life by destroying your own abilities. I'll give you 1 minute to think about it. When the time is up, you will be left with your life here. 3 powerful voices came from the distant sky. Even though they were far away, the content of the voice transmission was still clear. Sensing the presence of these 3 uninvited guests, some of the psychics who had not yet completely left all took a deep breath. This power fluctuation doesn't look like an A-level power user. I'm afraid he has already been promoted to the ranks of an S-level power user. Are you kidding me? 3 supernatural beings who surpassed the A-level appeared at once. Who are these 3 people? From the tone of their conversation just now, they should be helpers invited by the Alliance. Could this be the Alliance's trump card? These people usually don't show their true colors, but when it comes to the critical moment, they really come up with a trump card. Lin Sheng squinted his eyes, focusing on the 3 lights approaching at a rapid speed. This breath. He is indeed an S-class psychic. No wonder the Alliance had the confidence to force him out. It turned out that they had already chosen 3 successors. However, after some investigation, the bells also revealed that these 3 people had a huge flaw, that is, their aura was very weak. It always gives people a feeling that their realm is very unstable, as if their strength is forcibly raised by something. After a little thought, Lin Sheng understood clearly that this person was most likely an S-level mutant created by the accumulation of elixirs. In terms of strength, he is indeed much stronger than an A-level psychic, but compared to a real S-level psychic, he can be killed instantly. At least compared to when he was at S-level, he is not a little bit weaker. 3 psychics wearing Alliance uniforms suddenly landed on the ground, causing cracks on the ground. There were 2 men and 1 woman, and all 3 looked relatively young, with an average age of around 35. The female psychic standing in the middle looked to be no more than 26 or 27 years old. But Lin Sheng recognized these 3 people. The 2 male S-level psychics are called Feng Yuanlong and Feng Yuanlonghu, and the female S-level psychic is called Qilai. These 3 people had already reached the level of A-level psychics a few years ago, and could be ranked among the top 10 in the entire Alliance. The aura unique to S-class psychics instantly permeated the surrounding area, causing the faces of the prisoners who were kneeling on the ground and preparing to resist the Alliance to change. But their eyes did not waver at all, and they looked like they were ready to die. Lin Sheng, are you surprised to see that we have all been promoted to S-level? Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you are the only S-level psychic in the world. The Alliance cultivated you, but you betrayed the Alliance. What's the difference between such ungrateful behavior and those beasts who only know how to eat and drink? Facing the 3 people's indiscriminate accusations, Lin Sheng did not respond directly, but said with great disdain, "You are a piece of trash who relies on pills to forcibly accumulate realms. You dare to shout in front of me. So what if I take the pills?" Feng Yuanlong's face was gloomy, and a green supernatural power quickly spread out in all directions with him as the center. "I am now an S-class psychic, and one of the 3 great war gods appointed by the Alliance. How dare you, a nameless and homeless dog, bark in front of me? Noisy." Lin Sheng frowned, and an overwhelming pressure suddenly gathered from above his head, and then hit him heavily. Because this pressure came too suddenly, Feng Yuanlong was caught off guard and was directly pressed to the ground. The S-class psychic who was full of vigor and vitality just a second ago was actually pinned to the ground with a single look. At this moment, Feng Yuanlong could not do anything except move his head slightly. Feng Yuanlong's reaction was not slow. He immediately tried to mobilize the supernatural powers in his body to forcibly break through the pressure that was restricting him. But no matter how he activated the supernatural powers in his body, the pressure on him never decreased in the slightest. He did not believe in evil and pushed his supernatural powers to the extreme, but these supernatural powers still fell into oblivion without any response. No. Impossible. Feng Yuanlong's face suddenly turned as pale as paper, and a terrifying thought emerged in his mind. When the difference in abilities between the 2 parties is too great, the weaker party will be unable to break free from the control of the stronger party no matter what. At that moment, he felt as if he was in a vast ocean. No matter how hard he tried, he could not get any response. You should feel lucky that you and I have never had any conflicts before, or have never done anything out of line. I can spare your lives, but the prerequisite is that you also become a witness to the execution and witness with your own eyes how the Lord of Linyuan City is tortured to death by me. By the way, personally hand over the projection of the execution process to the top leaders of the Alliance and the Chen family." Lin Sheng's words made the 3 of them sweat on their foreheads. If the top leaders of the Alliance knew that the 3 of them hadn't even touched Lin Sheng's finger, then Feng Yuanhu and Qilai, who were standing nearby, took a look at Feng Yuanlong, who was lying on the ground unable to move. They felt their throats tighten and could not utter a single word. This sheer difference in strength made them feel as if there was an insurmountable chasm between them and Lin Sheng. "Lin Sheng, the southern border is now being attacked by monsters and is on the verge of being lost. At such a critical moment, not only did you not do your part to protect the people of the world, you even set fire to the backyard." Seeing that force didn't work, Qilai immediately tried to appeal to Lin Sheng's emotions and reason, using moral blackmail to force him to stop. Su Xingzhou, who had been silent all this time, could no longer bear it and retorted in a hoarse voice, "How dare you bring this up? If some people with ulterior motives hadn't deliberately targeted Brother Sheng, the border would have been peaceful, and there would have been no bloodshed. When you don't need people, you force them to leave. When you need them, you use moral kidnapping to get them. How can such a good thing happen in the world? A worthless person with broken arms and legs dares to shout in front of us. Feng Yuanhu and Feng Yuanlong are indeed brothers. Their tempers are exactly the same and they even want to fight. Xiaohu. Stop it now. Feng Yuanlong was extremely anxious. The other two had not yet felt Lin Sheng's magnificent power, but he had already experienced it in a real and practical way. The two sides are not on the same level at all. Feng Yuanlong had no doubt that even if the 3S class warriors joined forces, they would not be able to keep Lin Sheng here today. Chapter 23. But his reminder was still a little slow. Feng Yuanhu's ability had already been fully charged. Poison ivy puncture. There were many emerald green vines growing wildly out of thin air on the soil beneath my feet, and each vine had red thorns on it. The moment these vines broke through the ground, they rushed towards Lin Sheng at an extremely fast speed. Each thorn on the vine is extremely poisonous. Even if you just scratch your skin, it's enough to make you lose your fighting ability. Feng Yuanhu was very confident in this move. When he was still an A-level superpower, he had used this move to kill several demon generals. Now, he has been promoted to the ranks of S-level psychics, so the strength of his attacks is naturally much stronger than before. Feng Yuanhu even foresaw that the future of killing the former god of war and achieving supreme achievements was beckoning to him. However, before Feng Yuanhu could be too happy, the expression on his face froze instantly. While his pupils were trembling, he took a step back in disbelief. No. How is this possible? My attack was negated. Just when these thorny vines were about to penetrate Lin Sheng, an invisible wall appeared out of nowhere and blocked the vines out. With your current abilities, I'm afraid you can't be called an S-level psychic yet. Lin Sheng snapped his fingers lightly, and the vines that were still desperately stabbing at him seemed to be ignited by something. In just a moment, it was completely engulfed by the flames. Then a flash of lightning flashed by, and before Feng Yuanhu could even react, he felt a strong sense of numbness rushing straight to his forehead. Thump. Little tiger. Little tiger. Seeing his brother being knocked down by one blow, Feng Yuanlong's eyes were bloodshot. He and Feng Yuanhu grew up together and have a deep relationship. Now the other party is foaming at the mouth and unconscious, and no one knows whether he is dead or alive. How can he still remain calm? Don't worry, he's not dead. Rather than killing you, I want to see how you can resist the overwhelming invasion of monsters. The Alliance has spent so much money to turn the three of you into S-level superpowers, just to let you resist the invasion of monsters. But with your current strength, you can hardly counter the invasion of monster kings. Any demon king that comes along will be enough to kill you several times. Don't rush to refute, time will prove everything. Lin Sheng laughed twice, his voice was so dull that the only unrestricted Qilai even breathed faster. Qilai was very clear about the strength of the two brothers Feng Yu and Long Hu. But now both of them have lost their fighting ability, she absolutely cannot follow in their footsteps. Qilai is a smart woman, and she heard two key points from Lin Sheng's words. First, Lin Sheng has no intention to kill them yet. At least that's the case for now. Second, Lin Sheng spared their lives to see if they could resist the invasion of the monster tide. Could it be that this former god of war still has some feelings for the Alliance? But in fact, she was just overthinking. The reason why Lin Sheng didn't kill him directly was that he didn't want to give the Tianxing Alliance a chance to find excuses. If he killed these 3S-level psychics directly, the subsequent defense line would be lost. Given the temper of those shameless people in the Tianxing Alliance, they would most likely blame it all on Lin Sheng killing the main defensive force. Although he didn't care about these things, the blame could not fall on him. It was clearly the incompetence of the Alliance. Taking the blame for the many incompetent people in the Alliance. Don't even think about it. To him, whether to kill these three people or not is like whether to crush 3 ants. But the problem now is that these 3 ants can still bring him more show effects, so it's okay to keep them for the time being. He wanted to witness with his own eyes that the entire Alliance was unable to resolve the invasion of the monster tribe and gradually fell apart and headed for destruction. When necessary, it wouldn't be a bad idea for him to give it a little push. Snap. The sound of flesh and blood falling to the ground broke the dead silence. Everyone now focused their attention on Chen Li, who was imprisoned in the sky, had completely lost consciousness and was on the verge of death. His body had been chopped beyond recognition by the lightning and fire-flying knives. His bones were exposed to the air, and his blood had almost dried up. As for the ground beneath his feet, it was piled with pieces of meat of various sizes. The environment near the Jingshui prison was extremely humid, and the fishy smell quickly attracted a bunch of flies and insects. It's almost time. It's getting late. You can go now. Lin Sheng directly accelerated the process of Ling Qi. After all, Chen Li had completely lost consciousness, and he could not feel any pain during the remaining process. The meaning of this criminal execution no longer existed. Lin Sheng also adhered to the attitude of keeping his word and put the flesh and blood cut from Chen Li into a huge box. Looking at the bloody gift box that Lin Sheng sent over with his supernatural powers, Qilai swallowed with a grunt. But when he thought of Lin Sheng's unfathomable strength, he had no choice but to bite the bullet and accept the gift box filled with flesh and blood. Master Lin Sheng, I will deliver this gift to the Chen family. Lin Sheng was very satisfied with Qi Li's attitude, and with a slight wave of his hand he lifted the pressure from Feng Yuanlong. As soon as Feng Yuanlong recovered his movement, he staggered to Feng Yuanhu and reached out to check his breath. After confirming that Feng Yuanhu was still alive, Feng Yuanlong stood up and saluted Lin Sheng with his fists clasped. Thank you, Lord Lin Sheng, for not killing me. We were too reckless just now. From today on, unless Master Lin Sheng surrenders to the Demon Beast clan, we two brothers will not attack him at will. They are reckless and warlike, but they are not hopeless fools. What's the value and meaning of continuing a fight where you are defeated instantly as soon as you make a move? They had just become S-class psychics, and the privileges and glory they could enjoy had just begun. It would be such a loss if they died at the hands of the previous generation's war god before they could start to enjoy this successful life. After weighing the pros and cons, the best solution is to bow to Lin Sheng. It's okay for you to take action, as long as you don't regret it. Lin Sheng would not believe it, let alone care about this illusory promise. Who would care about the feelings and thoughts of an ant? When he felt that these three people were of no value anymore, he would just kill them. It would be a convenient thing to do. I'm taking Su Xingzhou away. I think you guys don't mind, right? Feng Yuanlong glanced at the ruins of Jing Shui prison behind him, and the corners of his mouth twitched twice. Opinion? They might have had some complaints when they first came, but now they just want Lin Sheng, the god of death, to leave as soon as possible. I dare not, please do as you please, sir. Lin Sheng used his supernatural power to pull Su Xingzhou into the air. Before he left, he reminded him again, remember to send the execution footage and Chen Li to Chen's house, and bring a projection to the alliance as well. Give them a few more words. I don't want to see a second chance to do what Chen Li did. If you do it again, it won't end so easily next time. Also, the next time we meet, I will appear as a demon and witness your destruction with my own eyes. Chapter 24. As soon as these words came out, the three people were shocked. Even Su Xingzhou beside him was trembling with fear. Join the demon tribe? They clearly knew these 4 words, but why couldn't they understand them when put together? It's unprecedented for humans to join the demon race. Lin Sheng left these words and took Su Xingzhou away quickly. After Feng Yuanlong determined the direction, his pupils suddenly shrank and his breathing became rapid. Because he discovered that Lin Sheng was moving towards the southern border. Could it be possible that he really wanted to join the demon tribe? Southern border. The overwhelming monsters were like a black wave, sweeping through the villages and towns along the way at an extremely fast speed. Although there are some supernatural beings in each area to prepare for the appearance of monsters, the few dozen people are far from the huge number of monsters. The monsters that were tearing flesh and blood madly noticed that there were people with special abilities passing by overhead, and they all raised their huge heads to carefully look at the delicious food that was about to be eaten. But when they sensed the familiar and frightening aura from Lin Sheng, they all trembled. Then he lowered his head and continued eating as if he hadn't seen it. Lin Sheng marched straight ahead, piercing through all the blind monsters that tried to block his way. Brother Sheng, we are about to cross the border. If we go any further, we will reach the territory of the demon tribe. Lin Sheng's flying speed did not slow down at all, and even increased a bit. It was the demon tribe that went there. The words of the demon emperor reminded me of this. It would be more satisfying to dominate the demon tribe than to suffer humiliation in the human alliance. Compared to the intrigues of humans, the monsters who only respect strength are much simpler. The demon king of the demon race. Su Xingzhou was stunned. He had only heard of the demon king and the demon emperor, but had never heard of the existence of the demon emperor. Although the demon beasts have not launched large-scale invasions in recent years, they have been accumulating their strength. They are not like the alliance, which is complacent and immersed in this false peace. Lin Sheng was more or less helpless in the past few years. He proposed to the alliance more than once to strengthen the training and improvement of fresh blood to ensure that there would be no gap when the monsters invaded. However, the top leaders of the alliance rejected the proposal several times in a row, and the reasons made Lin Sheng laugh and cry. The alliance actually used the excuse that the cost of training people with special abilities had already reached the maximum limit and that no additional expenditure was needed. You have to know that a banquet for some high-level officials is already very expensive. Laziness, greed, betrayal, the alliance has long been riddled with holes. The scene in the demon world is completely different from that in the human world. The air here is filled with a fiery breath, and the land is covered with an extremely deep red color, as if it had been soaked in blood for many years. Several monsters as big as hills roared, and their huge bodies blocked Lin Sheng's way on the road, interrupting their conversation. Human. You've crossed the line. One of the monsters that looked like a giant lizard stared at Lin Sheng. It could not sense the supernatural aura of this human, but the other party could go deep into the monster world so calmly, so he must have something to rely on. If it could be swallowed, perhaps its strength could be increased, and it could break through the level of Demon General and enter the level of Demon King in one fell swoop. Lin Sheng's stellar momentum exploded instantly, covering the surrounding area. He doesn't need to say anything more, his stellar level will speak for him. Under the influence of instinct, these monsters quickly restrained their momentum, and the fighting spirit in their eyes completely disappeared. Without any obstacles, Lin Sheng headed straight for the heart of the demon world, searching for the demon emperor's scent while speeding. But the demon emperor's aura was completely restrained, and Lin Sheng couldn't lock onto it directly. Hovering in midair, Lin Sheng summoned the Long Yuan Demon Suppression Halberd. The moment the violent supernatural power poured into the Long Yuan Demon Suppression Halberd, an invisible wave swept across the entire demon world in an instant. Such a provocative move naturally made many demon kings and demon emperors furious. Human. Do you think there are no more monsters in my monster race? You dare to cause trouble in the demon world? Even if I have to die, I will seriously injure you. Several hot-tempered demon kings were about to attack, but just a second before they did, another aura that could almost rival Lin Sheng suddenly erupted from the depths of the demon world. Human god of war, you are here. Are you here to join the demon race? I welcome you to the demon world as a guest, but holding a weapon is not what a guest should do. With the demon emperor speaking, the The restless demon beasts gradually calmed down, their huge eyes fixed on Lin Sheng, as if they were going to rush forward and tear him to pieces in the next second. This scene made Su Xingzhou tremble with fear. The powerful aura from the depths of the demon world alone is enough to destroy all the A-level superpowers in the entire alliance. Brother Sheng actually took him directly into the demon world. This behavior is too crazy. But out of trust in Lin Sheng, Su Xingzhou could only endure the discomfort brought by the pressure and wait quietly. I think you don't have a clear sense of priority. Lin Sheng spoke. He had no intention of putting down his weapon and talking properly. Instead, he raised the long Yuan demon-suppressing halberd and pointed it at the direction of the demon emperor. I came here to rule the demon race. Arrogant. An even more violent wave of sound came. After the sound wave, a thick old tree as red as a flame broke in half and fell to the ground, splashing a cloud of dust. Then the human incarnation of the demon emperor tore through the void and slowly walked out of the crack in the void. Judging from the appearance, the humanoid incarnation of the demon emperor is a man who looks only 30 years old. He was dressed in a black robe with dragon pattern, with demonic aura surrounding him, eyes like torches, and he exuded a terrifying pressure that could change the world. Greetings to the demon emperor. Greetings to the demon emperor. The monsters watching around all saluted, and most of them just crawled on the ground to express their respect. All eyes in the entire demon world were focused on demon emperor Hongzi at this moment. It is like a god who has descended to earth, enjoying the respect and worship of believers. Hongzi sneered, looked down at Lin Sheng and said, the demon race has existed for much longer than the past 10 years when your blue star has had superpowers. How dare a mere human dare to claim to rule over the demon race? I admit that you are indeed the best among humans, but being in the land of the demon world, my strength can be increased several times. Even if you try your best, you will never be my opponent. Lin Sheng remained calm, the long Yuan demon suppression halberd in his hand emitted an even brighter light. Even the halberd was trembling slightly due to the excessive amount of energy injected into it, and it could slip out of his hand at any time. Whether you are delusional or not does not depend on what you say, but on what you do. If you don't try something, how do you know if you can do it? Chapter 25. I joined the demon tribe with 2 conditions. Tell me about it. There was a slight fluctuation in Hongzi's dark eyes. He had come into contact with Lin Sheng's strength before. He was more than 100 times, 1,000 times stronger than the demon kings of the demon race, and even more powerful than him at his peak. His only chance to defeat Lin Sheng was to fight in the demon world. Once you leave the demon world, then I am no match for Lin Sheng. If such a powerful weapon could be brought back to the demon clan, human superpowers would have no chance of winning. Even if Lin Sheng didn't take action, the demon beast army of the demon tribe would be enough to wipe out all the human defenses. The first condition is to heal the child's tendons and veins. Your demon beast clan has killed many people with special abilities, so you must have a lot of rare herbs or precious elixirs. The pills are useless to you, so you might as well make the best use of them. That's no problem. I can promise you. Let's talk about the second request. Hongzi immediately agreed to treat Su Xingzhu's request. Just as Lin Sheng said, the demon clan has a very strong foundation. Unless something as outrageous as forcibly resurrecting a dead person is impossible, treating other injuries is not difficult. The second request is that I take the position of the demon emperor. As soon as these words were spoken, the entire demon world was filled with deathly silence. Su Xingzhou opened his mouth halfway, and the thank you he was about to say suddenly got stuck in his throat. When Su Xingzhou first heard Lin Sheng's first request, he was very moved. He was abandoned by his parents when he was young and grew up alone. I have picked up garbage, slept under bridges, been robbed by beggars, and been beaten up by urban management officers. Having experienced all the malice in the world, no one had ever shown him any kindness before he met Lin Sheng. It was Lin Sheng who gave him the opportunity to join the alliance and also gave him a lot of guidance on supernatural powers. Otherwise, he would never have been able to become an A-level psychic at such a young age. It is also because of this that Su Xingzhu's protection of Lin Sheng reached the point of selflessness. In his eyes, even his biological parents would find it difficult to do this. But now, Lin Sheng actually brought him to the heart of the demon world, just to restore his broken tendons to normal. Su Xingzhou was so moved that he almost burst into tears, but this feeling disappeared when he proposed to challenge the demon emperor. Instead, there was deep fear. Challenge, the demon emperor? This is not a demon general, nor a demon king, nor a demon emperor, but a demon king. The demon king. The appearance of a demon king is enough to kill many A-level psychics without a burial place. In the past, when a royal monster invaded, Lin Sheng broke one of its arms and lost the lives of more than 50 A-level psychics. And that only severely injured him and forced him to retreat, but did not kill him. Every time a monster's level is raised, its strength increases exponentially. Being able to face the demon emperor and calmly put forward conditions, this state of mind and psychological quality has already defeated all the superpowers. From what you said, you want to challenge me to a position swap. When Hongzi first heard this, he was a little bit unbelievable, but its body speed has reached the top in the world, and its 5 senses are so sharp that it can easily capture even the slightest sound of airflow. It was absolutely impossible to have heard it wrong. Hongzi laughed twice in a dull voice as if he had heard a huge joke. There is only one rule in the demon world. The one with the bigger fist is the boss. As long as the strength of the monsters at the bottom level increases, they can challenge the monsters at higher levels. If you can defeat the high-ranking monster, you can take its place. But in the 10 years since the demons appeared on Blue Star, there has never been a precedent of humans and demons exchanging positions and challenging each other. Why not? Precedents are meant to be set. Could it be that your demon race has special restrictions on this rule and does not allow other races to participate? The demon race boasts of its ancient civilization, but dares not accept a challenge from a human. If this gets out, won't people laugh at you? The aura around Hongzhe suddenly rose, and his black dragon-patterned robe rustled in the strong wind. The strong speak with strength. If you lose, I can spare your life, but you must stay and serve the demon clan. If you win, I will give you the position of demon king. There was a hint of cunning in Lin Sheng's eyes, and he used his supernatural power to temporarily put Su Xingzhou on the ground. There were monsters everywhere. The monster generals were considered low-level beings. There were many king-level monsters watching. Even the 5 emperor-level monsters of the monster clan were hovering in the air to watch the battle. Being surrounded by such a strong team, Su Xingzhou would be lying if he said he was not panicking. Fortunately, these monsters were of high quality. These monsters are certainly greedy, but the monster emperor has an agreement with humans. Unless ordered by the demon emperor, they would not do anything out of line towards these two people. It's a deal. Human race, Lin Sheng, challenges you. I am Hongzhe, the demon king of the demon race, and I am here to accept your challenge. A hint of fighting spirit flashed in the eyes of both men at the same time, and two completely different powers collided with each other without any signs. The fighting style that started from zero frame caught the monsters present completely off guard and they were almost knocked to the ground. Two groups of energy, one black and one red, intertwined and collided crazily in the air, just like two bright stars colliding in the universe. The two rays of light, with completely different powers, seemed to split the skyline of the demon world in two. Feeling the strength of the supernatural power that was comparable to his own, Lin Sheng frowned. It seemed that he could not delay with the demon world in Hongzhe for too long. After all, the monsters in the monster world can absorb the unique power of the monster land to enhance themselves. As the emperor of the demon clan, Hongzhe naturally possesses this unique ability. Moreover, the stronger the monster itself is, the more significant the improvement it will get from the land of the monster world. Hongzhe's current power is close to the stellar level. However, the outcome of a battle is not determined solely by the strength of one's ability. Lin Sheng threw the long Yuan demon-suppressing halberd into the air, turned his fist into a palm, and fiercely slapped the tail of the halberd. Blazing palm. The long Yuan demon suppression halberd, with its lightning and fire powers, flew straight towards Hongzhe. The speed was so fast that bursts of explosions were heard in the air. A trace of disdain flashed across Hongzhe's eyes, and he raised his hand and grabbed the long Yuan demon suppression halberd. The reason why monsters are far superior to humans is not only because they are powerful, but also because their physical strength is strong enough. Especially for a being of Hongzhe's level, ordinary weapons simply cannot break its defense. But when Hongzhe's right hand covered with black scales touched the halberd blade, an unbearable burning sensation suddenly hit him, causing Hongzhe to subconsciously withdraw his right hand. The inertia left on the long Yuan demon-suppressing halberd directly stabbed Hongzhe's right arm. Hongzhe glanced at the wound on his right arm that was constantly oozing blood, his face full of disbelief. This seemingly ordinary black halberd could actually hurt it. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.